And you
Good
don't have
morning,
to.
everyone. It is December 16th. This is a regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. The first thing on the agenda is public comment. If you are here for public comment, and I'm not seeing anyone in the room, and you wish to comment on one of the hearings that we have today, there will also be public comment opportunities during those hearings.
If you're online, raise your hand and I will make you a panelist. Okay, we do have one person raising their hand. Natalie.
Strom, Natalie is the interviewee for item, I think, 3.
Okay, she just put her hand down. So you are
Okay.
I see no other hands.
Okay.
Oh, I lied. There's one more. Jamie Boyle. Vote.
Great, thank you, Megan. If you would let me know when she is over here. Can't get access to the property because.
Okay, Jamie is rejoining. Hi, Jamie. You can go ahead with your public comment when you're ready.
If you could first, please just, let's make sure we have a good connection. Are you able to hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you for being here. Please state your name, roughly where you live, and you will have 3 minutes.
My name is Jamie Boyle. I live in Westminster, Colorado, but I work for Gilpin County. I'm the Director of Community Development there. I was hoping to provide comment during the public hearing on the Bellevue PUD. I heard that you mentioned that. I would like to speak at the appropriate time. Is that now or is that later?
The Bellevue hearing is scheduled for 10:30.
Okay.
So we can take comment now or then or both.
I'd prefer to reserve it until 10:30. Thank you. Apologies for the confusion.
You're welcome. Thank you. We'll see you then. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and close public comment. Next thing on the agenda is a work session. Natalie, this is you, with Natalie Strom for appointment to the Board of Directors of the Clear Creek County Tourism Bureau. Our multi-talented, multitasking person is gonna bring you over in just a moment.
No, that's Jess.
Natalie.
Natalie's on.
I'm sorry. I knew that. I'm like, what's happening?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just mini talents.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. Who are we looking for?
Natalie?
Oh, okay. That was the person that just had their hand raised. Perfect. They're rejoining. All right. Hi, Natalie.
Hi there. Can you hear me and see me okay?
Yes, good morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for applying to be on the Tourism Bureau Board of Directors. We're going to do a quick interview, and if you could start by just describing who you are, some of your experience, and why you're interested in serving on the board of directors of the Tourism Bureau.
Excuse me. Sure. So yes, my name is Natalie Strom. I've lived in Clear Creek County since 2013 now. When I first initially moved out to Colorado, I worked for the town of Georgetown on website design, as well as the Georgetown Loop Railroad, and volunteered at the Rock House. After doing some of those things, I actually moved on to working in Denver while still living in Idaho Springs. I was working for a nonprofit where we did political advocacy and education for around behavioral health at both the local, state, and federal level. About a year and a half ago, I decided to leave that position because I really wanted to come back to my home base, being Clear Creek County. And so in doing so, I came back and I started working for Mountain Prime. I do their events and marketing. I work at Ology Emporium in the Majestic building, and then I do also work part-time in Georgetown. Prior to all of those, I lived down in Florida for a while, and down there I started my own nonprofit for the arts. It was called the Goodland Arts Alliance. And in that capacity, we were working to restore old fishing villages that were going to be torn down in the area that I lived in. And I also served as an appointed member of the Civic Association there. I've also had a lot of experience in event management and planning during my time working in Denver. And for the nonprofit, I managed an 800-person conference in Breckenridge every year. So that sort of has given me a lot of education around how to host successful events. And so really, working in politics for quite a while as well, coming back to my roots and coming back to sort of the local level, if you will, is really, people always say that's where you affect change, but you really see it when you actually do live those different types of governmental levels. And so I just was really kind of excited to come back here and work locally again. And then meeting Jess and talking to her a lot about what goes on within the community and tourism and having some of that in my background as well. I thought it would be just a really nice way to get back involved and doing more things within Clear Creek.
Thank you. Colleagues, what questions do you have?
I just wanted to say that you have excellent credentials and I'm very happy you applied for this position.
Thank
I
you
have-
very much.
Yeah, you filled out the form beautifully and answered all my questions, so thank you.
Thank you.
This is Jody Herman Ball. I have a question for you. In here, you stated that you are basically worried about Georgetown and you see that they need some attention. How would you deal with that when the tourism board is not representing Georgetown because they opted out with the lodging tax? That's an issue that we can't advertise for Georgetown.
Sure. And that is something that I filled out before I had actually found out about what was going on with the lodging tax. To be fair. So, while there are some concerns there, I can address them if you'd like, but because it wouldn't really apply to the tourism board, I do realize that now. So so I can go into it if you think that it's necessary, or else I would say that I do realize that being a part of the Clear Creek Tourism Board would more or less not take Georgetown into consideration and what is going on there as they are managing their own tourism.
Okay, so that has since changed, you're saying?
So I would say it is still there in the back of my mind. However, I don't think that it plays a role necessarily in the tourism board for Clear Creek since it won't be representing Georgetown.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think my question, just generally, what do you think? We collect public funds to try to market for tourism. What do you think the Tourism Bureau should be doing with those dollars?
That is an excellent question. I mean, I think that there are quite a few things that can be done, and I think kind of getting creative and bringing the businesses involved as well. I think that there is a lot of potential for cross promotion with businesses with each other, and then utilizing those. So, for example, one of the things that I just worked on was Mountain Prime doing sort of a collaboration with the Clear Creek Arts and Education and Club Hotel. And so Clear Creek Arts and Entertainment was hosting a watercolor event and we sort of at Club Hotel. And then we advertised to come to Mountain Prime for the Italian night, half off bottles of wine, etc. So we were able to market that basically on social media and things of that nature. But being that it's not only one of the nonprofits in the county, but two of the businesses, I believe when collaborations like that happen, the tourism board could come in that fashion and utilize funding to help push those events further and more broadly across the state and the surrounding area.
Interesting. Thank you. I think I have one more question, colleagues. Should I not jump in front of you?
I have another question, but I can wait.
Go ahead.
So another question that I ask almost everybody that wants to be on the tourism board is, you living here locally, how do you take on the challenge of protecting our way of life, the quality of life of residents, and promoting tourism?
It's a very interesting thing because wanting to be on the tourism board, but also thinking to myself, I work all summer long and that's when everybody's here and they get to enjoy the fun things. And sometimes it feels more crowded, right? Than maybe we'd like it in our backyard, but also understanding at the same time that over the years, right, and over time, Clear Creek County has become a tourist destination. So I just think it's really important to always have your ears open and listening to people. And by working in the community, one of the nice things about working at Ology Emporium actually is that I work in the Majestic building. So I get to meet a lot of the people that work upstairs and live in town and are creating different ideas and things like that for what the county should look like, what Idaho Springs should look like, et cetera. And so listening to those folks, listening to people that just come into the store and have and live in town, it's just a really nice way to be able to get to know what people are interested in. And I will say that there are certainly people that don't want to see more tourism, that want to see less. And so there is a fine balancing line of how do we sort of respect that. I volunteer at Charlie's Place, and one of the things that a volunteer may have mentioned to me was the old Mormon church that sits there, and how at one point people wanted to develop that into housing, and they really pushed back against it because they didn't want more people coming in and more tourism. And so that was sort of a compromise to keep that area there and keep that kind of open space there. And so I think that, working with the community, listening to what the tourism needs, and sort of weighing out that balance, what's going to work best for everybody is really the best way to go about it. There's no perfect answer, I don't think, for any situation, but doing the best we can to keep the community happy. And I think it's, that's part of the end goal because I want to be happy too in this community. So if it benefits me, no, I'm just kidding. But to benefit, as a member of the community and knowing people in the community that aren't completely tied into tourism, it is a benefit to be able to hear both sides.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. That's a good segue into just to kind of get specific to where I think that the Tourism Bureau is at and where we're at as an economy and how we spend marketing dollars. We have data that shows that our need is not for more people to visit Clear Creek County. We have 10 million visits a year. Our need is really to get the people who do come visit here. And because I've got a couple people from the sheriff's office, I'm thinking about them right now. And like, they're here and they're demanding our services and not shopping as much as we would like them to. And that's where the real opportunity for economic growth is in getting the folks who are here to spend here. I think that involves working with businesses and even ideas as dangerous as marketing specific businesses that we think are a good match for what those people are looking for. I'm just curious, like, so that's what I think this board has been asking the Tourism Bureau to do. And I'm curious, is that something, what are your thoughts about that approach to tourism marketing as opposed to the top goal being, hey, come here and we need you to know about us?
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think that, any small town, I've lived in small towns for many, many years in Florida. The town that I lived in was only 400 people. So moving here was like a big city. But, you have you have a lot of crosstalk and just for like example, working at Mountain Prime. And I tell people that and they say, oh, the steakhouse, we can't afford that. We never go there because it's associated as a steakhouse where it also has general American fare and et cetera, and reasonably priced as well. I think it's really important to get people in the community who spend money in the community. So I think that's a great angle. And again, I think a lot of it can be done. The social media in the area and the people that are in the different Clear Creek County groups and Idaho Springs groups, et cetera, are really wide. And I see when I'm posting things on social and doing things in that nature, there's a lot of response to it. And so I think that there are definitely ways to grow it without utilizing a lot of money, but clear and consistent messaging across county websites, across the town websites that we represent, and through the businesses and different nonprofits that are in the area as well. I think all of those kind of coming together and being able to kind of share that same message of shop local, dine local, meet up with your friends here after this event at the high school. Things like that could really kind of help boost people coming out and people spending their dollars where they live.
Okay. Thank you.
I think what George was also getting at was, for the people who do come and visit, we want them to do more than just buy gas and then go mountain biking. We want them to come back, have lunch, have dinner, shop in our shops. So, once not encouraging another million people to come visit, but of the 10 million that do visit, encourage them to shop, not just recreate.
I see. I apologize. Well,
You're
I'll give
fine.
you that earlier grain of advice for free then. But just kidding. As far as all of that goes, um, I would say that there definitely can be some challenges there. We know that people have, certain concerns about the economy overall, and this is a nice distance between, to just go up and hike for the day. So I think again that if we're looking, I know that the majority of people we see are kind of coming from like the Denver area or down the hill. So I would say that utilizing advertising dollars that are going to be within those areas that we're seeing the most people come and the most people sort of come for the day to, like you were saying, hike or do something of that nature and then leave, utilizing advertising to those specific areas, I think can be really helpful. And again, I think that cross promotion, I think that really like kind of everybody kind of coming together, businesses, again, doing things like that. I know, in my store or in the restaurant, people ask, where should we go to eat all the time? Or where can I find this? Or where can I find that? You know, um, like off the top of my head, taking out maybe like a page in a local newspaper with all these different ads of things and places
Yeah.
people can go, right? I understand that newspapers maybe feel old-fashioned to some, but others really love them. So I think there's a lot of different ways to consider it, but it would definitely be, I think, like you were sort of saying, pulling out different businesses and seeing how we can kind of have those collaborate and say, right, like if you're, going to go and do this today, why not stop by here while you're at it, right? If you did you just take a big hike, go over to the Indian Hot Springs and relax, right? Stay the night, stop by Main Street for breakfast. So I think there's a lot of little connections that you can make throughout to sort of give people ideas of what to do, or even, create day trips for people that are nice and spelled out too. So
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Other questions?
Good.
Okay, so then what we are going to do in terms of process moving forward is reflect individually on this interview and have conversations with staff about our opinions. So our goal is within 2 meetings. Within the next 2 meetings, you will either see us pointing you or you will receive an explanation why we are not.
Okay, great.
Do you have any questions for us?
I don't think that I have any questions at this time, but I will say that I'm very excited for this opportunity and I very much appreciate you taking the time this morning to chat with me. And I believe that you do have my information. So if you have any other questions for me, please feel free to reach out. And thank you
Okay.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I meant to say I liked both of your questions, very thoughtful.
Yeah, thank you. So then the next thing on the agenda is a communications update. Megan?
All right, let me turn my camera. All right, just a few quick things. Just a reminder, Christmas is, what is it, next week or 2 weeks? We are going
9 days.
9 days. Oh my gosh, it's coming up. So just a reminder, if you're trying to get business done on that day, county offices will be closed. Emergency services obviously will still be working, but just wanted to give everybody a heads up. Also, like I said last time, public health has updated vaccines. So if you're going to maybe visit some family members or get on a plane, it might be a good idea to get vaccinated before doing so. And then also this happened last night and it's happening again tonight. There will be an I-70 West closure at Floyd Hill. this, I'm going to read it from the sheriff's office because they did a better job than I did. Westbound will be closed overnight, both nights between Highway 6 exit ramp and the Highway 6 on ramp. The detour is short and easy. I-70 westbound traffic will exit at Highway 6 and turn left onto Highway 6 West and then re-enter. So maybe if you're coming up to the mountains after 9 p.m. tonight, just give some extra time because you never know. So just wanted to update everybody on that. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you. County manager updates. Colton.
Don't really have anything. Gave mine last week. Nothing really new other than we're coming up on the holidays. So make sure that if you're coming to visit the courthouse, you check the hours of operation and everything. That's right.
And the transfer station.
And the transfer station.
Mm,
Yep.
point.
Thank you, Jody.
And that's all posted on our website.
Yes, the
Sets of hours.
hours are on the website.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner update.
I have a list. Let's see, since the last meeting, I attended a meeting with Red Rocks Community College, and they're looking for ways to reach out to surrounding communities to let us know all of the courses and technical courses they have, the different degree programs from certificates through bachelor's, and I think they even have a couple masters. So it's they're reaching out to us and wanting us to know more about them. They did just meet at the high school, so they are reaching out directly as well. I met with Sheriff Thornton. We discussed jail issues and the retirement program options. And let's see, we all had a special session on mill levy to get that squared away for funding EMS and the fire authority. I attended Clear Creek Regional Housing Authority meeting last night. It was a long one. And we're also meeting again on Wednesday, working to bring more affordable housing into the county. I have a DRCOG meeting Wednesday night. And then we have a special BOCC meeting on the 22nd. And I have another special Regional Housing Authority meeting on the 29th. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you.
I just have two updates. I attended the CPP, the community partners with Henderson Mine. They didn't really have too much new information. They are still pretty much fully staffed, which is good. They're still doing I think it's like a stipend for the employees for the cost of living in Colorado. And the new thing is they're using molybdenum for the drilling cores because geothermal is getting more popular.
Oh, good.
So that is another use that the Molly is going into. And then I just have an update on the NOCO places. I've talked about us trying to get grants. We are a partnership with NOCO places. They were awarded 586,000. 300 will go into administration for 2 years. 286 will go for unauthorized trails. And we will not find out exactly how much Clear Creek gets probably until sometime in January.
Would you explain for our constituents what unauthorized trails are?
Those are trails that we identified in all of the NOCO partners. Clear Creek County was a huge part of that. We submitted trails that people have made that are not named, they're not authorized trails, and we're trying to get those cleaned up, closed, and protect our forests.
Thank you.
And that's it for me.
Great, thank you. Did I think I might have misunderstood you, Rebecca. Did you say we have a BOCC meeting on the 22nd?
No, that was a Regional Housing Authority meeting, and then our next one, I think, is on the 29th. Is that right? Oh, no. Yes, I have a special BOCC on the second. Is that not right?
I do not.
On the
We do not have a meeting on the 22nd,
Right?
unless it's January. No, January 22nd. I think we have one.
That's
Oh.
odd. I pulled this straight from my
Oh.
calendar, so
20th.
22nd, we don't have anything.
thank you very much.
Okay, well, I
I
wanted to
won't
make
show
sure.
up.
Yeah.
We do have one the 18th.
Yes, the plan at 10 a.m. Thank you.
See that? Um, so then, just a handful of things from me. First, I know this was mentioned last week, but Aaron Crawley received the First Responder of the Year award. I'm very proud of him for the work he did to keep Teen Clear Creek EMS going when we knew they needed more staff. Working their tails off all year in 2025. Aaron demonstrated why he deserves this award and how he accepted it. Spent the whole time talking about everybody on that team that plays a role in the kind of awesome outcomes they get. And so it was a really good leadership moment from him. And really grateful to Nagoose for taking the time to do that. Also, speaking of Congressman Nagoose, he will be here for a town hall I wrote July 2nd in my notes, but I'm thinking it's January 2nd. That's a Friday night, right? And they've requested.
It's going to be 4 to 7:30 is what is the actual?
I'll resend that to you. I believe it's 5:30.
5:30, 7:30.
Okay.
I just blocked out the time for the room, but that's a good point. Thank you. I will get that to you.
So they asked if Joe could use this room, and Colton, I sent Colton a separate email. We're clear.
We're coordinating on how to do that because normally the building's closed. So we're
Oh.
working with hopefully the sheriff can unlock the doors and I'll probably come to help make sure that everything is set up correctly.
If we need to seek an alternative location, we can, but that's just.
We think we can make it work.
Okay.
As long as are all three of y'all planning to go?
Of course.
Good. So we'll post it and then, I might talk to one of you about helping unlock or just how to shut down and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Just for time's sake, the meeting is 5:30 to 6:30.
5:30,
Oh, wow.
6:30.
Yeah, I also had it 4 to 7:30.
That's just a
We just
block
blocked
out.
Oh, that was, okay.
So excited to have Congressman Nagoose here. Second day of the year, first town hall. I can't help but just express my gratitude. We also have congresspeople in this state who have not done a town hall since they've been elected. And so Congressman Nagoose is awesome. A couple of reports from a CCI meeting. The governor's office's ideas about Department of Human Services continue to show that they have a lot of tentacles. We're not actually sure anymore. It will require much in the way of legislation. But it is a big deal. I want to thank Director Sarah Casano in advance for all the time you're going to be spending trying to understand their ideas and how they work for us. They did say, Michelle Barnes, the Director of State Human Services, did say that Colorado has the most inefficient system in the nation in discovering benefits eligibility. That caused a lot of questions from people in the room, and commissioners and service directors have been trying to understand where that number may have come from. A lot of different ways to measure inefficiency or efficiency, but we can't find one where we're the 50th state in the nation.
Ain't that enough?
It was the Director of Human Services for the state of Colorado, Michelle Barnes. I'm probably getting her title wrong.
She might be executive director. I'm not sure. Either way, same.
So yeah, we have some work to do on that one. And I just want to continue to plant seeds with the both of you. This is going to be one of those issues where we're probably going to, need to be tracking pretty carefully and trying to understand. Eligibility management is complicated and
counties were not identified, correct? And that just the state?
well, she just said we have the most inefficient system in the nation, and
And she's really analyzed all 50 states.
I'm kind of curious about where that came from. I mean, a lot of people have different takes on what efficiency means, and so I'm pretty curious. But I thought you all should know that, like, I think it's very telling about the governor's office and how they view the county administered state administered county run system. And we'll have some work to do this session, talking about that. So then, I also learned that the governor has proposed an 18% reduction in funding for local public health agencies. I have had some initial conversations with Dr. Ryan. I think that's worth keeping our eye on as well. The initial response is that what we get from the state is small enough it might not have a huge impact, but this would mean 32% total reductions over the last two sessions for local public health. So I'm gonna, just as a heads up, gonna be asking if they can quantify what that means, our staff can quantify what that means in dollar terms. With CCAT, CCAT did make county revenue diversification a level 1 priority without a specific bill attached to it. They will be spending this session, seeking opportunities this session, to get something introduced or working to make sure that by next session, there's an idea that meets our needs that has legislators to introduce it and, stakeholder worked on advance, et cetera, et cetera. So not the win we wanted. Some steps taken between last year and this year. And then just lastly, colleagues, I spend time over kind of the week before Christmas and the week after Christmas reflecting on the year and thinking about what kind of goals I want next year. So this is a heads up. I'm likely to come into the new year for our conversation about goals. And I wanted you to know that I'll be plotting and scheming in my home over the next couple of weeks.
I'm sure for the last year, you have some big goals to go out on.
Yeah, and I mean it's stuff that we've been talking about. Like I don't think we're going to see any surprises there. This is my invitation to you to do the same thing. And if you're, I know this is your first year. If you're coming into year 2 with a clear list of goals to bring to the table, I think we will all benefit. And that's all for me. So next on the agenda is consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they wish to pull?
I do not.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read it. Item A, consideration of approval of the warrant register. Item B, consideration of approval of resolution number 25-89, a resolution designating the 2026 Clear Creek County holiday schedules for Clear Creek County offices and the Clear Creek County Transfer Station. Item C, consideration of approval of quote and master services agreement with Axon Enterprises Incorporated, body worn cameras, in-car video systems, taser devices, digital evidence storage, and software licensing. Item D, consideration of approval of the Clear Creek County and Prowers County Memorandum of Understanding for the Hotline County Connection Center. And item E, consideration of approval of EMTS funding grant attestation.
I would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Well, the next thing is at 9:30 a.m. start, abatement hearing. I don't know if we,
Take a break and I'll go find Donna.
yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna do a short break. We'll be back by 9:20, hopefully. Because we think we have everyone here for this abatement hearing, we are going to start prior to 9:30. We are looking online for
Chip Webster.
Chip Webster.
Looks like he's.
Oh, and Chip, you're here.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Chip Webster here.
Good morning, Chip.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So to start, have you received the information you need from the assessor's office and you feel prepared to proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And then what we're going to do, I must call you Mr. Canfield. Mr. Webster is, we'll give the assessor a few minutes to describe this case. We'll give you a few minutes to add any information the board needs. And then we'll go to questions and we should be able to, do this pretty smoothly. So Assessor G.
Good morning. We're looking at case number 2578, Antis Canfield. And this is for the Dewey mining claim. It's vacant land. This case was continued from December 9th, so we could take a closer look at the access on the property. It is on the very top of Lamartine, below Trail Creek, and that area can be sketchy and iffy to get to. Our clear maps are not survey accurate, so just trying to take a tighter look at that. I am going to go ahead and request a refund of taxes in the amount of $505.65. I did provide you guys with a map so you can see that it is at the very top four-wheel drive in that area that the access is just none, in my opinion.
Okay. Is that all from you?
Yes.
Mr. Webster, what would you add?
I just want to thank everyone, especially Donna, for digging into that a little bit more. And I appreciate that you're in agreement with me on that particular claim. So thank you.
Excellent. Colleagues, questions?
I don't have any. I'll defer to the assessor.
Just one question for you, Assessor. When you make a change like this, it lives in the system sort of forever, right? So this will be the default for this parcel moving forward?
Correct. I will change the classification on the property.
Okay.
So unless they build a road to it.
Yeah, and I don't think that'll happen. Just for that location of that one.
Okay. Well, colleagues, I agree with the assessor as well. We've already heard that from you, Rebecca.
Yes.
Ready for a motion?
I move that and we are acting as the Board of Equalization.
Nope, you're the Board of County Commissioners still.
That the Board of County Commissioners approve the assessor's recommendation or petitioner's request for abatement or refund of taxes and to issue an order directing a refund of 2023 taxes.
23 and 24.
And 20.
I'm sorry, I should have.
Yes, no, you're just fine. With that amendment.
For the total amount of $505.65
For each year.
for each year?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Assessor G. You're always so graceful in these moments. The next case we have is Kruger. Is the petitioner here?
Is there another name I could look for? That was Chip Webster.
Same.
Kruger is?
Yeah.
Oh,
The same person? Yes.
Oh, I just booted him off. All right.
He's gonna be a panelist again? Okay, yes, sorry.
He's coming back. All right, thank you. Sorry about that, Mr. Webster.
Hi again.
Hello again. Thank
Sorry
you
about
for-
that.
Okay, no problem.
Well, starting from the top, Mr. Webster, have you received the materials on these cases, number 25, 98, 99, 101, 102, 103, and 104? And are you prepared to proceed?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Assessor G, you'll have 3 minutes.
This was a continuation also from December 9th. We're looking at vacant land. It was requested I take a little tighter look at the access on this property. And again, we're looking at case 2598, 2599, 25101, 25102, 25103, and 25104. Unfortunately, with this one, I am recommending a denial. I do have a survey that was done when that subdivision was created. And on page 1 of that survey, it does indicate that there is a 30-foot easement for private roadway and utility for the use of the owners of parcel A through G, and their guest is hereby reserved, shown on this plat. And we are looking at parcel G in this request, parcel G, parcel A, parcel D, parcel E, parcel F, and parcel B. And the survey was provided to you in your packets.
Okay, I see that. Mr. Webster, it's your turn.
Yes, thank you. So I would still request that the abatement be considered because although there's an easement, there's no road. And in fact, at least for now, to put a road in there is more expensive than the value of the parcel. So I absolutely agree that if there were a road and the road was there, that this would be correct. But at this point in time, there is no road there. So that's would be the basis that I would request reconsideration. Thank you.
Yeah.
And there is a road. It's a better access than the one we just discussed. And on the survey, you can see the little map in the middle of the first page. There's a little map with the road access there. And I think in the past, what we have requested is for the applicant to apply for a driveway permit in this case and have a denial before we could consider looking at no access.
Okay.
Could I add?
so-
Could I add something?
Please.
Okay, yes. So the road that I believe Don is referring to comes into parcel C. So parcel C, we are not contesting because it does have that current access. So we're only asking for reconsideration on the other ones that at this point in time don't have. I just want to give clarification that we were not asking for abatement on parcel C where that road touches. Thank you.
Yep, and that's where the easement would come in.
Okay.
Right.
Colleagues, questions? I have one, Assessor G. Can you help us understand? Of course, there's legal access and then there's actually a road in contact with the property. Do you have a criteria in your system that makes a distinction along those lines?
No, if it has a road, then it has access, especially with an easement.
I think his question was flipped. It was, if you don't have a road, but you do have easement, the potential of building a road still
Exists.
okay.
Okay, so there's not a distinction in your system between a property that doesn't have anything built on, but has a road to a building site and a property that
It's,
theoretically legally get one.
yeah, no, it still remains as vacant property until a permit is.
Okay.
And a driveway is put in.
Thank you.
So my question to understand this, if he didn't own C, he wouldn't have access
He
to
would.
the other ones?
Because of the easement. The easement's
Doesn't-
allowing the access, yep. It's a 30-foot exit, and if you blow up the map on page 3, you can see the designation of the roads through the map. It's very faint, but it starts at the bottom of parcel A, I would say about halfway up, and then kind of zigzags through the rest of the properties. That's the easement there. It's very faint.
Colonel, yeah.
Mhm.
I do see that. Okay. Colleagues, I do remember when we were sitting as the Board of Equalization, thinking that it was wise to, in the case of somebody saying, sure, I may have legal access, but it's not practical, was that the threshold we wanted was if you can show that you're unable to get a building permit, then we would consider that evidence that indeed you don't have practical access. Until then, the number of creative approaches to driveway construction we've seen
In this county.
compels us, I think, in the past has compelled us to take this position. And so usually I don't start with my opinion, but I guess I am in this case. I agree with the assessor.
I agree with you, assessor.
Ready for a resolution?
I think so. Before we do, Mr. Webster, any further comment?
No, thank you for your time and consideration, though. Okay.
And thank you. We are ready.
Okay, hold on. I want to make sure I have the right one.
Actually,
would like-
I'm sorry, I do have a question. So do I understand that if I were to apply for a permit on one of those other parcels, and then I wasn't able to get the permit, then that could be potentially basis for a reconsideration. Did I understand that correctly?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to accept the assessor's recommendation to deny petitioner's request for abatement or refund of taxes. 25 dash, do I need to read them all since you did? Just 25-98, 25-99, 25-101, 25-102, 25-103, and 25-104.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, Mr. Webster. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webster.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Bye-bye.
You too.
Colleagues, we have,
The signatures are
thank
needed.
you. Yes, I can't wait. We have a choose your adventure. There is an appeal hearing at 10 o'clock. We're running a little faster. We also have kind of a long day and there's an executive session that may take 30 minutes. Should we try to do that executive session now?
I'm good with that.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Let me confirm that the assistant county attorney is available.
I'm good.
Let's. If not, my next suggestion is that we discuss the.
She's on her way. She's
Very good.
so.
Yeah, great.
The other thing as we, is that I'll be looking to move into, in here is this work session on the courthouse remodel. Just so that everybody's aware.
Okay.
So. Peter, when you're ready.
I'm ready. Thank you.
I move the board into executive session for the following purpose.
Pursuant to CRS 24640224B and D for the Board of County Commissioners to have a conference with the county attorney for the purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions relating to code enforcement case COD 25-019 Ponderosa Drive excavation violations, and two, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators with regard to the aforementioned code enforcement case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Board will adjourn into executive session. No written minutes will be kept. No decisions will be made. We aspire to returning here at 10 a.m. to consider a short-term rental. Okay, excellent. We are back on the record. We've concluded our executive session. No written minutes were kept, no decisions were made. And the next thing on the agenda, this is a public hearing, including public comment. Considering an appeal relating to the abandonment of short-term rental license for 22 Buckskin Trail in Idaho Springs, 80452, technically unincorporated Clear Creek County. Bear with me for just a moment here. So I'm just going to take a moment to describe the process for everybody involved. Before I do, I just want to make sure, ma'am, are you the appellant?
I am.
Okay, and you're representing the appellant?
Yes, sir.
Can you state your names and then just share whether you are prepared to proceed to a decision today?
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dylan Woods, attorney registration number 46731, and I'm appearing on behalf of Mrs. Barbara Mertz, and we are prepared to proceed today.
Okay, thank you. So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to ask County Attorney Peter Lichtman to have 5 minutes to present the appeal and the staff recommendation to the board. We will ask the appellant or their representative for 5 minutes to share why the board should grant their appeal. And then we'll do public comment. Any members of the public will be given 3 minutes to comment on the hearing. After that, the board will ask questions of staff and or the appellant. During that time, staff and the appellant are only welcome to speak when a question is asked of them. And then the board will deliberate, share our opinions, and then consider a motion to grant or deny. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Peter Lichtman.
Great, thank you. Peter Lichtman on behalf of the county. David Danielson is also here. He is the building official for the county. So I just want to give some background. The reason we're starting is just give an overview of the process, what we've done. Sometimes the appellant would normally go first, just stating their appeal, but we decided in this case, just a refresher of the ordinance would be helpful. Our ordinance 19 created a licensing structure for our short-term rentals. It was adopted last year, and the first year that it started was 2025. It actually began in December 17th, 2020, excuse me, December 17th, 2024 is when we started moving over to the system, but the first full year is 2025. So when we adopted this, the permitting system that existed before that, we basically kind of grandfathered for a short period of time the permits that existed so that they would be considered as though they were licenses, so that when people came to then under this new structure, apply for a license, it would be a renewal if they had a permit before. If they were applying for a brand new license, then they would just go under the license system. So this was adopted, as I said, at the end of 2024. In December, originally December 2nd, there was a notification that went out to all permit holders, notifying permit holders that this change was anticipated, that it was likely going to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners, and that there would be subsequent meetings regarding it. December 16th, another email went out from Lexi Berger. We have confirmation in terms of, we know we sent it to Ms. Mertz's, the appellant's email address. That notice indicated that there would be a sort of a town hall open meeting to discuss any questions that these new applicants would have. And that the period of the application was going to run from December 17th, 2024 through January 31st, 2025. What's important to note is that the permitting system and then our subsequent licensing system requires that the applicant or a license holder, or in that case, originally the permit holder, must provide a contact number, 24-hour contact number, as well as contact information such as an email that's under our license. So the email of record that we had and the number we had for Ms. Mertz appears to be consistent, because we have had emails responding from Ms. Mertz since that time. So during that period of time, up through January 31st, 2025, Ms. Mertz did not submit a renewal application. Ms. Mertz held a permit before that, but did not submit a renewal application. Reminder emails went out from the building department relating to the fact that, in this case, notifying Ms. Mertz that if she failed to apply, she would not be granted a license. Ms. Mertz did respond February 7th, and the building department elected to give her grace, as they did just about most people that were in this situation, in light of the fact that it was the first year that we realized that there could be glitches, there could be errors. So that was February 7th. Ms. Mertz, through a communication, sent her original application on February 11th, 2025. Building reached out to her to let her know that the application was incomplete due to some revisions that were needed, and the fact that a site plan per ordinance 19, which is STR ordinance, was not submitted. So she hadn't met the initial requirements. We did not receive any communication from Ms. Mertz after that. 2 months went by, and in April 16th, a second attempt, so 60 days after the first correspondence, a second attempt was made to reach out to her, telling her her application was not complete, was still missing the required information. They did not receive a response. Then April 24th, because in the April 16th correspondence, we said that we would abandon this by April 2024 if we didn't hear back. We did not hear back, but we sent another email and chose not to abandon the application. Now, this is another important part. This appeal, which is pursuant to our STR ordinance, is technically an appeal of an abandonment. The STR ordinance allows an appellant or an applicant or even a license holder or permit holder to appeal the decision of the building official to deny a license. In this case, we never denied Ms. Mertz a license. We just never received a complete application. This is important because if we had denied it, she would be prohibited for about a year to reapply for an SCR license. By choosing to look at it as abandoned, meaning it wasn't applied for, she can apply and she can do this to this day, submit a complete application. The difference is because she didn't meet this, and I'll just wrap it up by saying April 30th, we reached out again to tell her we didn't have the complete application. May 19th, we reached out a fourth time to tell her we did not receive a complete application. We did not receive responses. May 27th, we sent out a fifth attempt. That was 109 days from the original permit application period. We did not abandon it. On June 2nd, we sent out another. We did not abandon it.
Mr. Beckman, that is all in the written record.
Okay.
I think you can trust that we've read that.
Okay, that's great. Then I will simply move on and point out that what we're asking the board to do is simply deny the appeal. Ms. Mertz may apply at any point. She just has lost her place in the on the wait. She's now placed on a wait list. Somebody else has taken her spot. One last thing to mention. The reason why it's important, in our opinion, that you not simply allow Ms. Mertz to have a license now is then that will force us to be in violation of our own ordinance that requires a 4.5% cap. We are at that cap. It's reviewed annually. There are 20 other people on that wait list that would be before Ms. Mertz at this point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, in fairness, I'm going to give you 7 minutes.
Sorry about that.
I'll take that.
And please proceed when you're ready.
Okay, good morning. I appreciate you hearing me out. I'm going to take a minute here just to give you a little bit of history. This home on Buckskin Trail is not just a short-term rental. It's not just a business. This is a home that my husband and I purchased 8 years ago with the intent of retiring there in a year or two. We fell in love with it. We have to rent it out between now and then to afford to keep it to retire there. We both work full-time jobs. We both have ran this short-term rental for 8 years, doing every single thing to a T. We've gone by every rule that we've needed to. All of our renters come in and bring revenue to Idaho Root Springs by going to your restaurants, shopping in your shops. I haven't missed a deadline in 8 years. I understand your timeline and the emails that were sent. I came up and met with David and thinking we would resolve this easily. You sat on your computer and showed me emails that were sent from Lexi Berger, which was really the first I had heard of it, several of those. And at that time, I'm not denying she sent them at all. I can't explain why I didn't receive them, but I went through my emails on my phone at that moment and looked up these dates. To this day, I don't have them. I have found one email from Dakota that was in spam. I didn't know I was out of compliance, so I didn't look at spam to expect an email. I'm going to own my part in this. I definitely missed some communications. I didn't get those. Every single email that was sent and every phone call that was sent to me, I responded to. I didn't respond to the ones that I didn't receive. It's in the notes too that I won't go through all of my timelines. There was an email that was sent from Lexi, told me I was on the right track. The only thing I needed to submit was a floor plan of a bedroom as to where our renters would stay. And I said, that didn't apply to me. This isn't a primary residence for us. She didn't mention in that email that I was missing the site plan. I have another email that said, if you had a permit last year, you're guaranteed a license this year. I understand that's probably incorrect since I didn't do it accurately. But at the time, I felt like I was right on track and I had done everything I needed to do to switch over from a permit to a license. Just so you know, I know on paper this looks terrible. Peter just made me aware how terrible it looks on my part. I'm just an average lady working, trying to do the right thing. and keep my short-term rental license up to date, have it be renewed. There was definitely communication on my part. There was definitely miscommunication on your part as well. I returned every phone call I got from Lexi Berger, which was 3. It was shown on my timeline. Those came into my phone at my work as the sheriff's department. I immediately called them back because I thought something happened at our home. And I see in your notes that those return calls of mine were never annexed over to your department. So I tried my best to keep on top of this. I thought this would be an easy resolution. I came up and thought that we could figure this out. It hasn't been that simple. I guess it's not that easy. This is just one permit. I know you have a cap. I'm just hoping someone can understand that maybe that can be renewed. I don't think it should have been abandoned. You sent me a notice of violation through the mail, and that I received immediately. And on the day I received it, started resolving those issues. So I really wish I had gotten those emails. It would have helped me. I don't want to be in this situation. It would have helped me be able to resolve it at the time. I just think that based on my history of 8 years renting here, having a successful business and not following all the guidelines, not being late on anything, bringing in revenue, I really wish you would reconsider renewing my one permit. It's gonna cause us to sell our home. If we can't get this permit to rent it until we retire, we'll have to sell our home. And that's getting a permit to me. I know it's a big deal. You've got to follow your protocol, but one more permit to you seems a little less important than it will be to change our entire retirement. I don't know whether there's a way that there can be a compensation for that, or at the very least, if you could put me at the top of the wait list. I really wasn't aware that I could reapply right now. When I talked to Brian Bosshart multiple times, he just kept saying to appeal. And I guess now hearing this, I could have reapplied all the way back in February, which I didn't realize till now. And I instead went the appeal route, which brought us here today. So maybe had I been able to reapply, this would be different. I don't know. But I'm hoping you'll at least consider renewing that license.
And if I may just wrap up in the time that I have left, I'd like to highlight a few particular items. I appreciate that you've read the written materials, and I appreciate Peter's summary. And I also appreciate that there have been some irregularities waived here. So perhaps we were outside of the appellate timeline. So I appreciate you taking the time to hear us today. Those particular items that I'd like to highlight are on page 20, where Mrs. Mertz was informed that her application was insufficient. The email correspondence states that if you are applying for a primary occupied permit, you need to submit a site plan. But she was submitting for a regular STR, not the owner occupied permit. And she didn't understand that the site plan requirement applied even if she were not applying for the permit that email was about. So that was, in addition to the missed communications that we've already gone through, that was a particularly pertinent miscommunication, in my opinion. Additionally, on page 26, you'll see the email that Mrs. Mertz referenced regarding the guaranteed license. And we understand now that that is really a reference to you're guaranteed a spot, an opportunity to apply to renew, rather than what a strict literal interpretation of that statement would be, which is you are guaranteed a license. That also is an important misunderstanding on our part, but a miscommunication on the part of the county. And just following up on what Mrs. Mertz said regarding the appeal process, this probably is not the most efficient way of proceeding. This is probably not the most effective way of proceeding. It is the way that she was instructed to proceed, to go down the appellate route rather than to complete the application or resubmit an application back in February. And that would have allowed her to get on the wait list, even if she wasn't able to get the license at that time. So just in conclusion here, our request today is first and primarily that the board reverse the determination that her license was abandoned and allow the application to stand with the site plan as submitted. Secondarily, if the board is disinclined to go that route, we would ask that the February 7th date of her original application be deemed the date of her standing on the wait list as an accommodation. I expect that concludes our time, so we'll wrap up, but we're happy to answer any questions that the board has.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, what questions do you have? If you could please be specific about who you're asking the question of, that would be helpful.
This is to Ms. Moritz for your counsel. I'm looking at the documents, particularly page 20, page 21, where it clearly says that you're receiving this email that you had an active absentee short-term rental and have not applied to renew your permit to license under the new ordinance. And it says if you don't intend to apply to renew, please ignore this email. It doesn't, it makes very clear that you can apply to renew and they ask you to do that. It doesn't say you have to wait to appeal. So I think you were put on notice as early as February that was the
And
method
that's,
you could take.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was February 8th and I did get that email. And the next line says, if you do not intend to renew your license, please ignore this email. I responded to that email the next day,
By submitting the application.
meaning I do not intend to abandon it. It said, if you do not intend to renew your license, please ignore this email. So I responded wanting to make it clear I didn't want to ignore that email. And I responded the next day and applied. And that's when I asked Lexi, this is confusing. I don't see where I can renew. This looks like it's just for new applicants. And she was great. She helped me out, said you're on the right track. I don't know if you've got that email there. Her response says you were on the right track. So that was exactly my intent. Like, I don't want to ignore this email.
Okay, but Lexi also says, if you do not log into GovBuilt and apply to renew by February 10th, we'll consider your license abandoned.
And I did log in there. What was it, on the 10th, I believe?
And
I think it was the 10th, and very possibly if I got that the 10th, it might have been the 11th at the latest. You've got that timeline too. I think I sent it.
yeah, so page 35 of the written materials is the receipt for payment and submission of the application. And that's dated February 8th, 2 days after that email.
Okay.
And I note that that timeline is not contested.
I believe that's correct.
But prior to then, weren't you notified that you hadn't submitted everything they needed to complete your application?
Before February,
No, I'm looking at the date
That
your
was
attorney
after.
just
If I
referenced.
could just interject, that was after Ms. Mertz did submit her application, which
right?
was, I believe, February 8th, actually. She was notified that it was incomplete pursuant to section 6 of the STR ordinance. There were additional materials, including site plan, that needed to be submitted.
Right, and those were never submitted.
To my knowledge, those have never been submitted. Actually, initially, just about everything was, I don't know if finally, I think there was still one missing item, but
No,
well after the fact.
I submitted the site plan. It was well after the fact because that was the first I'd heard of it. So I think that was when I received that notice of violation and I went back in and logged in. And that's when it became clear to me that it was needing a site plan and I submitted it that day. But that was well after the fact.
Okay, Jody?
So I have a question just on this process of communications. When somebody already in the system, do they agree to just receiving emails? And I know she was sent something at one point, but was she saying she did not receive the emails? Is that like a type in the contract or?
So it's not specified. I mean, we just need to have the full contact information, but there's nothing that states please send it via email versus via cell phone. In this case, we did do both. Perla at the building department did reach out several times as well, and that's in the record.
Then I have a question for Ms. Mertz. I would assume like if you applied for a license, I guess if it was me, I would want to check up to make sure everything went through. And did you not like go in to check to see if this was processed? Or
I didn't go in and check that. All I did was ask Lexi again, I think in a following email, but no, I did not do that. I didn't. I really thought that I was good to go, so I didn't.
Okay, so you didn't double check the ordinance to make sure you had complied with all the requirements?
Double check the ordinance.
Referred to ordinance 19.
I just was purely communicating with Lexi and went by her emails now.
That was an email from Lexi explaining what you needed to do.
I have some questions. One of the questions I wrote down, I think has been answered, but what does it mean to be guaranteed a license? I heard you state my understanding as well. I just want to confirm that we understand at this point that basically means that if you successfully file a renewal application, you will be granted a license. So
That appears to be everyone's understanding today, yes.
excellent. I have a question for David. I don't know if this is for you or if this is for you, Peter. What is the criteria that we ought to use in granting an appeal? Have any policy recommendations for us?
It's just preponderance of the evidence, so pretty much 50, and then so you make a decision based on that, the preponderance of the information, the facts, but there's no other criteria that's offered in the ordinance. So it's at the board's discretion. You want it to be substantially justifiable. You want it to be reasonable. You want to ensure that you're taking into consideration everything, including equitable remedies. That would be my advice.
I have a question, if I may. When I got those phone calls, which would have been great to receive, because I think that was making me aware of this going on too, and I showed up as from the sheriff's department. Had those messages I sent back been forwarded to you, we would have been able to get it cleared up at that point as well, but you never received my messages.
You mean
Yeah, you wouldn't have called us. You would have called
I called the number that I got the call from, so I guess I don't understand why it shows up as the sheriff's department, but I just called back whatever number I received the call from and left multiple messages, but in your notes, it said that was never forwarded on.
There were several occasions, we're talking well after, where the messages weren't conveyed or they went to one department and were reached on. That was beyond the abandonment point at that point, and that became much more relevant when Ms. Mertz was seeking an appeal. Ultimately, the appeal was originally denied at every level, including to the board, but upon reflection and not being clear on the communication between Mr. Bossart and Ms. Mertz, the current county manager elected to hear her case again. He still felt denial was appropriate based on everything, the way he had treated everybody else in similar type of situations. Everybody's fact pattern is different. This one we brought to the board.
And may I follow up on that? There's just one change I'd make to what Mr. Lichtman said. This is on page 2 of the board packet. The license was deemed abandoned on June 25th. Mrs. Mertz did call the county and leave a voicemail that was not forwarded or responded on June 3rd in response to the 6th attempt to correct the application. So that was nearly 20 days that she was left waiting to hear a response to that voicemail.
David, could you clarify if she had gone online to all the rules and regulations for obtaining a license, is there a phone number there where she could contact somebody?
Yes, there's a phone number there. There's the phone number on the bottom of all of the notifications that were emailed. That's back to the county directory. When you call that phone number, you have to listen through the prompts or prompt number 8. So if you don't listen to and select the correct prompt, your voicemail will not get distributed to the correct department. So in our departmental voicemails from the main phone tree, we never received any voicemails. They were left at an adjacent department. We're assuming that they were never forwarded from that department to the building department or the planning department.
Okay. And have you confirmed that if you listen to all the options and you push 8, it does get to the correct place?
Yes, I actually just verified this Monday morning with my staff. Rita Elmquist forwarded my test voicemail straight back to me.
Thank you.
Um,
You
okay,
get that option if you call the sheriff's department?
If you call the main phone tree, I'm not sure which phone number.
Yeah, I called the sheriff's department because that's where the call came from, and I didn't know it was coming from the county commissioners. So I
Yeah, it
called,
wouldn't have been from us. It would have been from.
yeah, I called the sheriff's department. The number, I just literally hit redial thinking there was an emergency, so there was no options. It just went to voicemail.
thank you. Colleagues, do we have any further questions?
The only question that I have for Peter is the second ask is if we were to deny the license to put her at that place at the June time or whenever that is, how does that work?
If you were to,
Does not work, I should say.
right, so essentially, Ms. Mertz still needs to submit the fully complete application that needs to be accepted. And then she would be placed on the wait list on the order that she has a complete application. The appellant has asked for some sort of grace to allow her to at least be placed where February 7th or 8th would have fallen. The issue with that is we still did not have a complete application. Again, board's discretion. Keep in mind that all those people on the wait list have applied and submitted complete applications. And our goal would be to treat everybody fairly here, understanding that this is an unfortunate situation. We definitely acknowledge it. But the reality is that we have to stick by, and if we hadn't offered significant grace periods in advance, and I acknowledge there's obviously things on both sides where we learn from these experiences,
But everybody else on the wait list did it right.
correct.
Thank you.
And I will add a third ask then. I'll note that on page 2 of the board packet, July 21st, her application was complete. She submitted the site plan. So that would be our third request, that she be put on the wait list as of July 21st, 2025.
David? I don't know if you can answer this question right now or not. Did your office consider that application complete on July 21st?
No, we did not. It was already abandoned at that point. So it remained in abandoned status. A new application would be required for us to consider application materials.
The only outstanding item was a site plan?
I believe that is correct, yes. Corrections,
after.
revisions to a site plan. And then we would also need to conduct a safety inspection prior to being placed on the wait list.
And, I mean, from February to July 21st, that's an awfully long time,
120 days.
and not to, provide a complete application. And
So then let's start, you're starting to express your opinion. Should we go there? Do we have any other questions?
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. I guess I just have one. How many people do you imagine have gotten onto the wait list between July 21st and today?
I can't give you an exact number. I would estimate it's probably 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay. That's my final question. Jody?
I'm good.
Okay, colleagues, let's deliberate. Let's share our opinions. What's your opinion on this case? Who wants to start?
I would support staff's recommendation to deny the appeal and ask her to complete a full application with all the required elements of it. And then you could be put back on the wait list after she has a complete application.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tough. It sucks. I've been in that position, not gotten a piece of mail from my post office because the post office sometimes has its issues, but we still have to follow the rules, and I don't want to set a precedent that you know, that we're gonna start bending it. This was just implemented starting just this year, or December of last year, so not that long. So I am accepting the staff's recommendation to deny.
Okay. I agree with that. It's just a little bit of commentary from me. I mean, when I see two things when I look at sort of staff's actions, right? I see some opportunity for improvement in how we communicate. I also see acknowledgement of that, based on the multiple graces that were given throughout the process. And so I think ultimately it is on a person seeking a permit to track that process and know where they're at. And make sure that they have completed that. And Ms. Mertz, I don't think anybody here is taking your actions as anything but good faith. We know what it's like to be busy. And, but all of that stated, I think I agree. I think it would be, inappropriate to either reverse the abandonment or have someone line on the wait list based on these facts. So I think the proper motion, since we're in alignment here, is to deny the appeal relating to the abandonment of the short-term rental license for 22 Buckskin Trail. Would someone like to make that motion?
I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners deny the appeal relating to abandonment of short-term rental license for 22 Buckskin Trail, Idaho Springs, Colorado.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you for taking your time. And I'm sure you can work with David to figure out your next steps, whether you want to file an application, get on the wait list, or what your other options are. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, colleagues, we have next, would we like to take a short break? I think I would. We're going to take a short break. We're going to start this 10:30 public hearing at 10:45. We'll be considering resolution 25-84. Okay, everybody, we are proceeding. You have anything? So this is a public hearing. We're here to consider resolution 25-84. Resolution approving rezoning case RZ 2025-02. The Bellevue Mountain Resort Plan Development Sketch Plan. A request to rezone the subject property to planned development for the purposes of establishing a resort and wedding venue, including but not limited to a lodge, parking deck, dispersed cabin and tent sites and recreational trails. I just, a couple of opening comments. First, this is noticed as we're considering a resolution to approve. That's because the staff recommendation is to approve. That is, it is ultimately board discretion about how to decide on this case. The way that we're going to conduct this hearing is we're going to have a staff presentation first, and then we'll have a presentation from the applicant. I have found that's very helpful to inform public comment. Typically, public comment asks a lot of questions that are answered during the presentations. So then we'll get to public comment. We know there are a lot of you. I'm going to start with those in the room in order of who signed up. If you did not sign up, we will still allow your comment. At the end of the list, I'll just ask if anyone else speak, and then we'll go to Zoom, and we'll just take them in order of raised hands on Zoom. And that is an answer to a question I had about how public comment will come from Carla Cole that you all may have witnessed. So with all of that said, I think we are prepared to proceed. We have Garrett McAllister here. Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Garrett.
You have a presentation in the packet?
I do, yeah. So if you could both actually just introduce yourselves and your titles, proceed with your presentation.
Garrett McAllister, Planning Manager.
I'm Kathy Parker. I'm an assistant county attorney and I represent planning.
Okay, so today we have a hearing for a sketch plan proposal. I'll just start with, I have a memo that I prepared. I'll go through the memo. I have a presentation as well. I'll try to go back and forth between the memo and the presentation. We'll just go for it.
Will you be explaining the sketch plan is?
Certainly, yep.
Thank you.
I have a couple of slides on it, actually.
Correct me?
Yes. Okay, so this is rezoning case, our planning case RZ 2025-02. The recommendation from staff right now is we are recommending approval of the attached resolution 2584 for this rezoning case. And the proposal is to rezone the subject properties from a mix of mining 1, mining 2, and planned development to entirely planned development for the purposes of establishing a resort and wedding venue, including but not limited to a lodge, a parking deck, dispersed cabin and tent sites, and recreational trails. Some background on the project. This was first introduced to the county in May of 2025. A number of pre-application meetings between the applicant, the planning department, various county agencies or departments. And these pre-application meetings were necessary for sharing information, identifying some early issues, coordinating with other departments early in the process, as I mentioned, particularly road and bridge and county administration. The application itself was officially submitted on June 18th, and then staff and the applicant worked through some various iterations of the application just to ensure that it was complete, and it was deemed complete in early October. So the whole application and submittal materials are all included as part of the Planning Commission packet in attachment 1 in this memo. That includes the staff report, the application itself, the referral agency letters, and then public comment. And then just sort of for informational purposes, there are some other requests that are coming along with this rezoning request. The applicant is also requesting to vacate a portion of Bellevue Mountain Drive to purchase roughly half-acre county-owned parcel known as the Telcom site, Bellevue Mountain. to extend the vested property rights for a period to 5 years rather than 3, which is typical and outlined in Colorado state statute. And all these requests will be heard at a later date, either prior to or concurrent with the final plan process. And I'll just note that Planning Commission's purview really was to just make a recommendation on the rezoning approval, but staff did include information on these additional requests in the Planning Commission packet. So there's a section in the Planning Commission staff report where we talk just a little bit about these additional requests, but they did not make a recommendation on those requests. We are just focusing on the rezoning. So that's just sort of informational. In terms of the actual subject property, the subject properties, I should say, they are currently undeveloped. There are 62 tracts of land, generally located along portions of Virginia Canyon Road, Two Brothers Road, and Bellevue Mountain Drive, north of Idaho Springs, near the Clear Creek County and Gilpin County boundary. You can see on the map here, sort of the general location. It also includes some general areas where different uses will be taking place on the property. The red circle in particular is kind of the, I guess what I call the heart of the proposal, where the lodge and event center will be at the top of the mountain. Zoning in the area is almost exclusively mining, either M1 or M2, and the land use patterns in the area are really kind of open space. I put that in quotes because it's not technically open space designated by the county, but it's just a result of undeveloped mining claims, really. There are some residential uses on the interspersed M1 parcels along Two Brothers and Virginia Canyon Road, a little bit lower on the mountain, and there are some existing residences along Bellevue Mountain Drive. The Mighty Argo Cable Car Virginia Canyon Mountain Park is also located in the vicinity off Virginia Canyon Road. Referral agencies were noticed on October 22nd. All of the referral letter responses can be found in the Planning Commission packet as exhibits E through N. And there are summaries of each agency comments in the standards of approval sections of the Planning Commission staff report, which starts on page 6. A couple of other agencies submitted comments after the Planning Commission staff report was published. The Clear Creek Fire Authority and Gilpin County submitted, and those are attached as part of the memo here as attachment 3 and 4. I think we can go to the next slide. Maybe. Oh yeah, zoning, we can jump over that. We talked about zoning. These are the referral agencies that provided what I would call substantive comments. We had a number of agencies just provide sort of comments that said no objections to the proposal, or there would be further review at a later time. But these agencies provided more substantive comments. And then let's go to the next slide. And then these are the Clear Creek Fire Authority in Gilpin County that I mentioned, who provided comments after a Planning Commission. Next slide. So legal notice was published in the Clear Creek Current on October 30th. Adjacent property owners were mailed notice on the 4th, November 4th. Staff received a few phone calls and emails inquiring about the project, and 3 written comments were submitted prior to the Planning Commission hearing. Those are included in the Planning Commission packet as exhibits O, P, and Q. And then 1 piece of written testimony, actually 2 pieces of written testimony were submitted prior to the publication of the Board of County Commissioners memo and packet. And both of those public testimony, written testimony, is submitted as attachment 5 to the memo. A sign was posted on the property along Two Brothers Road on November 3rd in advance of the Planning Commission hearing in response to some concerns over signage at the Planning Commission hearing. Staff and the applicant coordinated to repost again in 3 places prior to the BOCC hearing today. Those signs were posted on November 28th. There's a map of the locations and photos of the postings included as attachment 6. So I think we can go to the next slide. 1 more slide. So this is a busy slide. I probably shouldn't have put all this up here, but I think it's important to talk a little bit about what a plan development is and what the sketch plan process is before we get deeper into the analysis and the standards for review and the approval criteria. So Section 901 of the zoning regulations states that the purpose of a plan development is to provide a means for developing land with creative and flexible concepts that are not otherwise provided for in other zoning districts. The plan development will contain a mix of uses, and even consider unique uses that are not considered in other zoning districts, while providing a continuity of design and development through total project planning. So in a lot of ways, a PD district is kind of its own little mini zoning district, right? It's a unique mix of uses on a piece of property, and it sort of functions as its own little zoning regulation. In terms of the sketch plan, Section 905.1 outlines the purpose of the sketch plan. It's really intended to be an optional process that provides an applicant the opportunity to submit a basic conceptual plan in order to allow the county and public to evaluate and discuss basic concepts for development prior to an applicant moving forward, submitting detailed plans and engineering required in the final plan process. The purpose of the sketch plan review is for the applicant, the county, and the general public to evaluate and discuss the basic concepts for development and to consider whether rezoning of the property to PD will result in a significant improvement over its development in a conventional zoning district by accomplishing the following. So 905.1.1 says to reach general agreement on issues such as range of units, amount of commercial space, types of uses, dimensional limitation, general locations of development, and general alignments for access, water supply, sewage disposal, things like that. So just sort of generally kind of a high level review of all these different aspects of the development. That's kind of the first purpose. The second would be the feasibility of the proposal in consideration of environmental constraints and availability of services and infrastructure based on the results of the site characteristics analysis. The applicant did submit a site characteristics analysis with their application. The next one will be whether the proposal complies with the purpose and intent of the Clear Creek County Master Plan. And then the last one, which we'll talk about in a little bit towards the end, but the outcome of the sketch plan review, and I think this is one of the more important ones, in my opinion, is should be an identification of issues and concerns that the applicant must address if the project is ultimately to receive approval of the proposal from the county. So I do have that list later in the memo. So I think hopefully there's an understanding here of what the point of the sketch plan is. Again, it's sort of a basic conceptual plan. Staff believes that this application really goes beyond just the basic conceptual plan. The applicant has gone through significant efforts to provide even more detail, a more detailed and thorough application than the minimal requirements of the sketch plan. And so we just note that there's been a good faith effort on both sides, I think, to work through some of the bigger issues, particularly things like the road network and access. In terms of the Planning Commission hearing, the Planning Commission discussed, let's see. Yeah, we can leave it there for now. The Planning Commission discussed a few main topics. There were a lot of things discussed in the meeting. It was pretty long. The full audio recording is on the Planning Commission website, but the main themes I think to highlight that the Planning Commission discussed were the road network, including things like access, maintenance, traffic impacts, economic impacts, water availability, and the service plan, the list of uses, and mineral rights as well. So below are some of the summary highlights of the approval criteria that staff found most relevant and what was sort of most discussed by the Planning Commission. We omitted a few of the approval criteria that were not applicable. There, for example, there's some of the review criteria include things like, let's see, like 909.7 is signs and outdoor advertising. At this point in the project, there's no sign plan yet. So we're not reviewing the sketch plan for sign plan proposal. So 909.1 are the uses permitted. The proposal combines components of 4 different zoning districts together: commercial, tourism, recreation, commercial, outdoor recreation, multifamily, R3, and mining 2. The proposal also features some unique uses that are not explicitly listed in the zoning code, but that do fit within some broader definitions. The Commission discussed the proposed uses, and both the applicant and staff recognize that further work was needed to refine the list of uses. And the applicant has submitted a slightly revised list of uses, and that's included in attachment 7. The 909.2 area and setback standards, the project will utilize the existing lot configuration and does not propose any boundary changes at this time. Staff also notes that rather than a maximum unit count, the applicant is proposing a maximum development footprint of 20% of the total acreage of the property. Due to the nature of the narrow overlapping mining claims that result in a complex lot layout, as we saw in the zoning map before, setbacks from internal property lines would make the design of the site nearly impossible. So at this time, there are no internal setbacks proposed for the project. But staff notes that setbacks are being considered for the external boundaries of the project in order to provide a buffer for adjacent property owners if needed. I think, can you jump ahead a slide or two? I think. Okay, so I do, let's
want
go
that one?
to 3, yeah. 909.3, I think will be the, perfect, thank you, Megan. Overall, the proposal is considered low impact with a total maximum development footprint restriction of 20% for the total acreage of the subject properties, which amounts to roughly 45 acres. However, the current sketch plan proposal, I should note that the current standards in our commercial zoning districts are between about 15 and 30% of lot coverage. So it's right in line with some of our other commercial districts. The current proposed development submitted as part of this sketch plan is roughly 4 acres, amounting to less than 2% of the total property acreage, which is well below our current commercial development footprint thresholds. You can go to the next slide. 909.4 is services and infrastructure. Just some background on the proposal here. Potable water will be delivered by company-owned trucks and distributed through a cistern-based storage system to meet the daily domestic demand and dedicated fire flow capacity in coordination with Clear Creek Fire Authority. There's no record of any existing wells on the property, and DNR notes that there's no opposition to the use of a cistern filled with water obtained from a legal water source. They did request that documentation be provided to DNR, so we included that as a condition of approval. And I believe the applicant has secured that agreement with Idaho Springs for hauling water to the site, and they can talk about that a little bit more. Wastewater treatment, the applicant states that an on-site wastewater treatment system professionally designed, constructed, and maintained to meet all CDPHE standards in place at the time of development. It's staff's understanding that an on-site wastewater treatment system over 2,000 gallons is required to be permitted by the state, and so all appropriate permits will be required prior to final plan approval. Road and access, there's a bit to discuss here. I think we can go to the next slide, Megan. Again, I'll just try to kind of keep it relatively high level. So there are 3 public county roads that cut across the subject properties: Virginia Canyon Road, Two Brothers Road, and Bellevue Mountain Drive. The functional classification of Virginia Canyon is an arterial, Two Brothers is considered a local access, and Bellevue Drive is primitive. The maintenance classification of Virginia Canyon and Two Brothers is secondary county maintained, and Bellevue Mountain Drive is secondary county non-maintained. There are currently no approved driveway or access permits to the property. As we noted, or as I pointed out in the concept map that we saw before, access to the main part of the project, including the wedding venue and lodging, reception, parking deck, all that will be via Bellevue Mountain Drive. Other parts of the project will be accessed via Virginia Canyon or Two Brothers Road. And staff has some conditions related to ensuring access for the applicant and nearby residents. Which we did update from the planning commission hearing, and we'll talk about that.
Are you gonna talk about upgrading from secondary non-maintained?
Mhm.
Is that
Yeah, so that's the next paragraph, actually. The applicant has requested that the maintenance classification for Virginia Canyon and Lower Two Brothers be upgraded from secondary county maintained to primary county maintained. Comments from the county engineer note that investments by the county road and bridge department will be required in order to do that. The planning commission noted some concerns about the county's ability to take on the burden of increased maintenance on these roads. In lieu of maintenance upgrades based on projected traffic, staff is considering, and I think this is up for discussion, considering the option of a traffic count program to collect some data prior to any decision being made on upgrading the maintenance status of any roads. So we can, I think, explore and discuss this more during the final plan process.
Okay, so this would be on us, not on the applicant?
Specifically the traffic counts.
No, the upgrade to county non-maintained, from county non-maintained road. There are a lot of people living on county non-maintained roads that want us to take care of them.
I think that's up, I think that's up for discussion at this point. I don't think staff is making a recommendation one way or the other.
Right.
And perhaps Stoy can weigh in, but I think we're just sort of taking in the application right now and letting you know what the requests are. So but I think more discussions need to be had.
There is a condition that relates to that we'll get to, right?
Related to the maintenance up.
Yeah.
I don't think that we have a condition on maintenance yet. Guess we're not making a recommendation. Right, because we don't have a recommendation on maintenance at this time.
Okay.
So, where were we here? Let's see. Traffic engineering reports. Okay, so the applicant did provide traffic engineering reports in section G of the application packet and the appendices. They also have provided a slightly updated and more succinct summary of summary traffic impact analysis, which is included in attachment 8 to the memo. They're anticipating about 124 daily trips generated for Bellevue Mountain Drive, as well as significantly more for event days when there are specific events happening. The applicant is proposing to widen the road to a minimum width, the right of way to a minimum right of way width of 50 feet, consistent with a low volume road in the road design and construction manual. And then the county engineer also recommended a service agreement for maintenance on Bellevue Mountain Drive and an improvements agreement to ensure the proper construction of certain required site improvements and infrastructure elements.
When you say the applicant's proposing to widen the road, are they proposing it or they're proposing we widen it?
We are not widening the road.
Okay.
The county is not doing the construction work to widen, So section 909.5, we'll move on to the environmental impact and the site characteristics analysis. Colorado Geological Survey provided extensive comments and recommendations. The agency notes that the proposal seems feasible and that the agency has no objection from a geological perspective to proceeding with the rezoning and sketch plan review, provided the applicant produce an in-depth geological hazards analysis. This is required pursuant to section 10 of the zoning regulations. So that will need to be included in the final plan application submittal, a geologic hazards analysis. Wildfire, the applicant notes that according to Colorado State Forest Service wildfire risk viewer, the majority of the site is rated moderate to high on the wildfire intensity scale and within the low to moderate zones for burn probability. Section 10 of the zoning regulations also will require a wildfire mitigation plan to be submitted as part of the final plan packet. Wildlife, according to the applicant, the project site is located within Bighorn Sheep Summer Range. The subject properties do not appear to be within a wildlife interference zone, according to GIS resources, county GIS resources. Staff did not receive any comments from Colorado Parks and Wildlife at this time. Section 909.8, you can go to the next slide, is related to off-street parking. Just a note that the applicant is proposing a 2-level parking deck near the main lodge. Additionally, a 50-space parking area along Upper Two Brothers Road for access to the recreational trails proposed on the property. Next, compatibility with surrounding land uses. Staff finds that the proposal is generally compatible with the surrounding land uses in the area, which is supported by the low impact design, the restrictions on density, the limitations on height, some of these design features of the plan. And all these features contribute to compatibility both with the natural landscape and the existing uses, helping to preserve much of the open space feel of the area. Section 909.13 is consistency with the master plan. Staff found that the proposal supported several of the master plan's goals. They're all listed below here. Suppose I can just go through a few of these for the record. The land use goal B ensures that land uses are compatible with the natural and rural character of Clear Creek County. We talked about that a little bit with the sort of low impact design of the project. Land use goal C is a plan for second use of historic mining lands. These are all historic mining lands. So this is a proposed second use for those lands. Recreation and open space goal A is to provide a high quality regional and connected open space, parks, trails, and recreation facilities. The proposal includes about 7 miles or so of recreational trails open to the public. Economic development goal A, Clear Creek County will make a commitment to foster new economic development opportunities that diversify the economy and support the fiscal and economic health of the county. I think this is certainly a new economic development opportunity in the county. I'm not aware of anything like this that exists in the county. I might be wrong, but so I think that it supports that goal of diversifying the economy. Clear Creek County will make a commitment to increasing its employment base of jobs at all levels, but particularly primary jobs in industries as manufacturing, technology, and service. There will be some service jobs as part of this development proposal. Economic development goal D, recognizing the importance of tourism and recreation to the economy and the health of the county's retail and service core. So this is really a tourism and recreation based proposal. Certainly the tourism, and there's recreation components included with it as well. And then economic development goal E, recognizing the evolving role of Clear Creek County's natural resources as an income base and revenue source. The county will make a commitment to encourage ongoing development of resource-based industries, including but not limited to minerals and alternative energy generation, while embracing the county's mining heritage. And the part that is important here is exploring opportunities for mine site redevelopment. Again, this is sort of a second use of mining, of historic mining properties. The mix of uses would provide unique experiences, services, and amenities to both residents and visitors and enhance the county's recreational assets. The low impact design reflects careful consideration of the natural setting and rural character of the county, and the economic benefits overall support the county's goals regarding fiscal health and economic growth and job stimulation and the we did discuss mineral rights a little bit and whether or not the mineral and surface rights were severed on the property. It's my understanding that all 62 parcels have mineral and surface rights intact. So there's no split. And then the economic impact. The applicant referenced an economic impact report in their application materials, and this was discussed at the Planning Commission hearing. Staff notes that it was not submitted as part of the application packet and is not really a submittal requirement. With that said, the applicant did provide a summary economic impact letter, and that's included as attachment 9. And then I also just wanted to point that the applicant has provided a document responding to written and verbal public testimony at the Planning Commission hearing. And responding to comments from the planning commissioners, and that's included as attachment 10. I think we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So circling back to section 905 that I had talked about before, this is the list of identified issues and concerns that staff has come up with. It's not an exhaustive list, but this is what we have kind of identified as things that need to be discussed in more detail as we move into final plan. So physical and legal access for roads and trails, plans for road improvements and trail building, plans for road maintenance, traffic mitigation and safety, the water plan and evidence of legal water supply, wastewater treatment plans, detailed proposals for signage, lighting and landscaping, plans for stormwater and erosion control, plans for defensible space, plans for environmental hazard mitigation, the finalized list of proposed uses, road maintenance and improvements agreements, a development agreement generally, and then a BOCC decision on the other requests, the road vacation, sale of the county-owned parcel, and the extended vested property rights. In conclusion, staff found that the application met all the applicable standards for approval outlined in section 909 of the zoning regulations. The planning commission voted 2-1 in favor of recommending approval to the county commissioners. That resolution is included as attachment 11. And then they just directed staff to emphasize conditions that ensure valid legal access particularly for Bellevue Mountain Drive, and to explore other maintenance agreement options on Virginia Canyon and Two Brothers Road. The full proposed conditions can be found in the Board of County Commissioners resolution. Just a note that those conditions were modified a little bit, and I have the slide. Can you go to the next slide,
Yep.
Megan? So this, one more slide. Can I just?
That's the end of it for me.
That's the end of it.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, cool. Maybe I took it out. So we've updated some conditions of approval here than what was approved by the planning commission. Condition 1 remains the same. Condition 2, we sort of separated condition 2 out into a couple of different, well, we separated out to specific to the Bellevue Mountain Drive where it crosses the subject property. And then number 3 is Bellevue Mountain Drive where it does not cross the subject property, adjacent property owners. So number 2 is, as a component of the plan, the applicant shall submit a plan for providing the full 50-foot right-of-way, and then the proposed road improvements in line with the county's road design and construction manual standards for Bellevue Mountain Drive. And that's based on the project proposal, right? We're requesting that their project team and their engineers provide a plan for improving that road to accommodate the uses that are proposed on that property. And then number 3, again, this is for adjacent property owners. The applicant shall secure 50-foot access easement agreements for adjacent property owners along Bellevue Mountain Drive. And if this condition cannot be met in certain locations.
These are the old conditions.
Right, I just,
Right,
yeah,
gotcha.
I'm reading
Yeah,
I'm noting where the
gotcha.
number 3 is
Yep,
different.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Catching up.
So if this condition cannot be met, then the staff discussed trying to allow for some flexibility to sort of meet the intent of this condition and just meet the needs of the road, really, Bellevue Mountain Drive, to support the proposal. So we came up with a couple of different options. One would be a plan for access improvements and maintenance for sections of Bellevue Mountain Drive where an easement cannot be secured. So where the road is narrower, identifying that on a plan and coming up with a plan to mitigate that issue. And then in combination, a plan to realign sections of Bellevue Mountain Drive to avoid crossing private property, if that is feasible. So again, we're trying to provide the applicants an opportunity to try to improve Bellevue Mountain Drive to the best of their ability, given some of the potential constraints that they face. Number 4 is, number 5 are the same. Essentially securing access easements for any and all private roads that originate. Oh, sorry, number 4 is new. No, number 4, number 4 is number 3. It's slightly revised. sorry, confusing myself here. But the applicant shall secure access easement agreements for any and all private roads that originate on the subject properties that adjacent property owners rely on for access. And then number 5, the applicant shall secure easement agreements for recreational trails that cross adjacent private properties. There are, on the proposed plan, there's some trail alignments that cut across adjacent properties, and we just want to ensure, staff wants to ensure that there are easements in place on those properties for a trail. And then last, the applicant shall obtain potable water from a legal source and submit documentation to Colorado DNR that the water used for filling the cistern is decreed for such use. And as I mentioned, I believe that they have approval agreements with City of Idaho Springs for that. I guess just in closing, staff acknowledges that the current proposal contains elements that will require further refinement as the planning and design process advances. This level of detail, I think, is typical and expected at the sketch plan stage and aligns with the purpose of this phase of review. Given the county's topographical constraints, development proposals in Clear Creek County often present unique challenges when compared to more urban or suburban settings. And so staff has evaluated the proposal with those contextual factors in mind and believes that the outstanding issues identified above can be addressed through the final plan process and with the associated conditions of approval. So I think that will conclude the staff memo.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, I'm sure we all have lots of questions. Find it helpful to get through all the presentations and public comment before we really dive in. But if you have any burning questions for now.
There was like one thing though, when it talks about the 0.545 acres. In some of this, it says, it's actually 0.25 acres. And some of it says 0.45 acres.
Which part in the?
No, it's in another part when they get to theirs, I think.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll have the applicant address that.
When we get to that, maybe clarify
Okay.
what it is.
Okay. I just wanted to note too, there is some additional public comment that was submitted after the publication of these materials that I just wanted to hand out to the board.
Peter, any suggestions about how to handle this additional public comment?
Should they read these out?
It probably would be a good idea for the record. What do you think?
Is it the one letter?
Yeah.
So
just the one letter is, I thought Colton might, is this the one you were going to read?
This is a different one. I have another one to submit to the board that just came in, but I'll print out.
So just from a procedure standpoint, would it make more sense if we have these written out just to simply include them in the record and supplement, or would you agree that the board needs to hear them right now?
They don't need to hear them. We can just submit them to the record. Insofar as the board has time to take a quick look at them, they can consider them, but because they were not timely received, then this is kind of just what happens if you submit a comment at the last minute, but they definitely will be a part of the record.
Agreed.
Yeah, excellent. Colleagues, I might propose a short break after public comment to read these. Let's hear from the applicant since we're through staff presentation.
Oh, I can move.
Sure. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll leave the room.
Kathy, is that your phone? All right.
There are 4 of us, so it's still a movie.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, Mayor.
Perfect, good work. And that can like kind of go around the edge. Yeah, that
This
works.
thing's super cushy.
That comment.
I know they
guys
seem
got the
really
super
tall, too.
cushy chairs here.
Especially at the end.
Want to sit here?
Okay, I'll have you guys introduce yourself and then I'll start sharing. I need to.
Yeah, like officially, like sort of, you want to sit here?
No. Who you are, yeah.
Bible for you to swear on, if you can just. And then Megan will get your slides up and you can proceed with it.
So I'm Chad Holmes. I'm lead developer for the project. To my two partners.
I'm Val Rodriguez. I am the Director of Guest Experience.
I'm Marvin Boyd. I oversee the land development acquisitions.
And I am Carla Pokrovka. You know me. I am the architect, acting planner for this team.
Thank you.
We do have a bit of a presentation for you as soon as, can we get to, one should be on higher?
This one?
Nope, we're going the wrong way.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
There you started it. So hello, I'm Chad Holmes, President and Development Lead for Bellevue Mountain. And we're really excited to discuss this morning what is a sum of many hundreds of hours of effort from myself, Val and Marvin, but also our development team, several of which are from Clear Creek County, including Carla, which we just talked to, and valuable as our entitlements advisor, amongst other things. This started 2 years ago, really born of our enthusiasm for the outdoors, mountains and travel. This is a passion project to create a legacy asset for the area and become an important contributor to the county as well as a good neighbor. I myself moved to Virginia Canyon earlier this year to better manage this as a resident of Clear Creek County. And beyond that dedication, I think in a 355-page application, I think that hopefully you see that that speaks to our level of attention to detail and concern about crafting something that is ideally suited for this land and community. We've enjoyed a lot of relationships built over this time, collaboration, and we just would really quickly like to thank some local leaders that we've met, like Mayor Harmon in Idaho Springs, as well as city staff over there. Lindsay Valdez with the Clear Creek County Economic Development Corporation, and Sadie Schultz with the Business Community Promotion Board. Next slide, please. A few key topics before we really kick it off. We really see this as a high economic benefit and low economic impact.
Environmental.
High economic impact and low environmental impact, right? Preserving the natural landscape and open space while simultaneously generating economic benefit is a difficult balance to achieve, but it's a balance that we feel is very, very important. We have a very strong alignment, as you just heard from Garrett, with master plan goals, as well as the resiliency framework from the CCEDC. And last but not least, sketch plan. Why? You know, as Garrett had mentioned, sketch plan is a conceptual review to evaluate the suitability of the project for the site and the scale of it. We intentionally elected that, this two-stage plan development process. So the county can first make a policy level determination if it's appropriate before the deep expenditure of engineering and all the additional time and site-specific work on that. So I'd like to hand it off to Val.
Thank you all in attendance for being here. We're really excited to share our project with the county commissioners and the community. My name is Val Rodriguez, originally from South Texas. I've lived in Colorado Springs for nearly a decade now. I'm the Director of Guest Experience and Resort Programming, curating memorable experiences through thoughtful and intentional guest experience. Our goal is to help connect people to the serenity and beauty that we love so much while creating memorable experiences along the way. We started this journey nearly 2 years ago with an initial concept of 10 glamping units. It's blossomed into a far more involved yet amazing project you have before you today. Why? Well, Marvin likes to say the land dictates what you should do with it. It's being in harmony with the land versus bending it to your will. The approach has guided our vision into what we believe to be its highest and best use. From the moment we first stepped onto this stunning property on March 3rd of 2024 on a snowy Sunday afternoon, the last stop of our Front Range research trip, we felt something unmistakable, a sense of history, beauty, and reverence. Being from Colorado Springs, Chad and I wanted to keep the project in the Front Range. It was out of respect for the land and its surrounding community that the vision of Bellevue Mountain Resort and Weddings took form. This project is near and dear to us, having invested countless hours of research both on and off the property. From the time we put this land under contract, we became stewards of the property, feeling protective over the beautiful landscape. Since moving to the Upper Virginia Canyon home, Chad and myself have seen dumping, illegal camping, including campfires, trespassing, and unfortunately arson. By simply having an established business at the top of the mountain, we foresee a lot of these harmful activities diminishing. We've been collaborating with the county and our neighbors, listening to their colorful stories of Bellevue Mountain and Virginia Canyon, and taking time to get to know the community. Attending such events as the exciting burro races, the 4th of July firework display, and of course, frequenting the Minor Street block parties. This has given us a true sense of Clear Creek's past, present, as well as the ability to meaningfully contribute to its future. Beyond the sketch plan you're evaluating today, we will be working to pull together the site-specific engineering requirements and complete the process of the official development plan by this coming spring. In the fall of 2026, we plan to execute utility upgrades, roadwork, preliminary site prep. Spring of 2027, we will be beginning construction and completing that winter. And we'll be open for business in the spring of 2028. Next, I'd like to pass it over to Marvin. He'll go into a little bit more depth about our team.
Good morning, everybody. I appreciate having the time here. I wanted you to know me a little bit. I've been in Colorado since 1961 and was raised in Denver, moved our family down to Colorado Springs. And originally I was a CPA, moved into the retail side of business on the automotive side. And then during that whole time, I was responsible for a lot of real estate development. So that's my background. My real estate experience is Front Range primarily. A lot of automotive dealerships, medical buildings, retail, custom homes in Douglas County, large ag farms out in Simla, Colorado. Okay. Although that may not count because that's for my son. Okay. As a sheep farmer, but it's diverse and a lot of experience, including an indoor shooting range in Colorado Springs. So you can see the diversity of our team here. We all have specific roles and we want to continue on and do the best project with stewardship in mind. And that's why we get a lot of input. You know, perhaps the sketch plan is one way to look at it and so forth. The which you can sense from Chad and Val is this is not a acquire something, build something and flip it. This is something that they want to live here in Clear Creek County and they want to continue operating this concept, a resort and a wedding venue. And I think that's important. And this property is a beautiful piece of property. It comes with challenges, but I think all the challenge can be addressed to everybody's satisfaction. But honestly, mining properties need to have a way to get repurposed and reused and help diversify the economy, Clear Creek County and surrounding areas. And you need to take bold steps to be able to do that within reason. And I think this is a great opportunity. Don't have any doubt about we'll be good neighbors, we'll be good community leaders, we'll do the right thing. Thank you.
Val.
So this is a high-level summary of our project. Bellevue Mountain Weddings will operate as a premier wedding venue and event space with a seated 200 guest capacity and a year-round availability. Built in heavy timber post and beam, the architecture conveys warmth and timelessness while also incorporating in modern new century design elements. Complementing the venue are two distinct lodging options. 10 premium suite style units directed primarily toward wedding parties and event guests, and 15 dispersed cabins tucked within a half-mile radius across the property. Intentionally hidden from one another, blending into the heavily treed slopes. Additionally, a guest reception building and two-level parking deck will provide guest services and all parking needs, both sited to remain below the ridgeline and treetops. Centered in its nature immersive guest experience and preservation of natural open space, BMRW intends to develop only 2.1 of its 227 acres. Activities and amenities start with the 7.1-mile multi-use trail system, of which a significant portion will be open to the enjoyment of the public. Additionally, there will be a curated mix of amenities, services, and classes designed to enhance the guest experience while remaining true to the property setting.
So as far as county and community impacts, we see a lot of benefits here. We really do feel this is the highest and best use for this land. And again, the balance of being able to strike the balance of preserving the landscape and open space while simultaneously really utilizing the land for significant economic benefit is something we're really proud of. And it's going to be produced here. Slide, please. Our business model is in direct alignment with this preservation of open space. At the core of everything that we're doing, we have something that we've developed called the outside-in concept, which means to enhance the outdoor experience by removing the barriers between us and nature, right, while maintaining modern comfort and convenience. This ultra-low density, near visual impact view sheds and mountain slope is something that we're intrinsically committed to. See, the business doesn't work unless we commit to this, because the guest experience, this guest immersive experience is the core of the success of the business. This really is the centerpiece and the soul of what BMRW will be. Next slide. We've already mentioned the public access to the trail system, which we're really excited about, as well as providing a dedicated parking area to utilize those trails, to which there is absolutely none in that Upper Virginia Canyon area. The creation of a high-end destination lodging experience that really elevates Clear Creek County's brand and identity, I think is something we've heard to be important in the diversification of the economy and developing it in a sustainable and responsible way. As well as we're sensitive to pressure on affordable housing for employees. So covering 40%, we're targeting 40% of all of our employees will be able to stay on site. And we hope that is certainly the case.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
So the trail system open to the public, will there also be like a luncheon place or something? If they go up there to mountain bike, can they then go eat or?
It's a potential use in the future. We're not currently planning that.
All right.
But that's the beauty of a planned development and some of the uses we're asking for. That could be something that is implemented in the future. Of course, that would come with additional county review and permissions.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Slide. Oh, Marvin.
We got you.
I want to echo again, we talk about high economic impact, low environmental impact, and it's not just the ground we touch, but it's in terms of where we place everything. And it's not a concrete parking garage. It'll have applications to it. It looks like it blends in. So there's a lot of little details that we will absolutely do, because when people come up here, they're just going to have an inspiration of being there. It's going to be part of that experience. We got an economic impact report, and this is from direct and indirect. So it's not just from Bellevue Mountain activities, but other businesses taking advantage and offering services to our guests. And on an annual basis, that's 15.9 million. Okay. On a county basis, from a taxation and so forth, that comes out to about $574,000 roughly. And that, that's derived from, property tax, sales tax, et cetera. And we feel like some of the things we're looking at in developing and promoting this project is that that's enough to carry the burden on an annual basis for us to continually make our guest experience better year after year.
Right. Val?
So PD zoning, why are we here? Clear Creek County does not currently have an established zoning category for a modern low-density mountain resort. A planned development, or PD, is a flexible zoning tool that allows the county to customize permitted uses, design standards, and development controls for a specific site. Through the PD process, we've responsibly created a resort framework by integrating 3 existing county zoning districts into a single cohesive zoning that ensures compatibility, predictability, and long-term stewardship. A plan development is not a relaxation of zoning. It is a more precise and enforceable zoning tool. All uses, building parameters, design standards, and operational commitments are clearly defined, reviewed, and approved by the county. This approach gives the county greater long-term control while ensuring the project develops exactly as presented. I'm sorry. Bellevue Mountain Drive will be the access to the heart of the project. The roadway, which runs along the ridge and is relatively level, is still in a primitive 2-track state, which will require widening to 2 lanes. The best method to allow for this is by securing easement agreements from the various property owners along the road. So as you see here, this image here represents the whole of Bellevue Mountain Drive. Currently, we've secured 84 easement agreements with the
84%?
I'm sorry, 84% easement agreements from property owners. We are still looking to get the remaining 16 of those small gray areas, 16% of the small gray areas. However, if this isn't ultimately possible, discussions with the county have provided means for permitted exceptions, which will allow the needed access.
This part, we have to, let's see, we have to skip because we can have. Skip.
Sorry.
Skip. Yep. And right there. So in conclusion, high economic impact, $15.9 million annually in county received impact. Low environmental impact, 2.1% development density. That comes out to about, I think, 4.5 total acres of changing the natural land, which we're very proud of. The preservation of the county's wealth and natural beauty, history, and culture is in direct alignment with our business model and vision. Good. I mentioned before the strong alignment. Garrett had it it was in the staff report, the alignment with the master plan goals as well as the resiliency framework. And I really want to reiterate again, this is a passion project that we've been working on for 2 years. It's very important to us. This is going to be decades that we will be operating this business, and we really want it to become a powerful contributing economic as well as just cultural factor in the county. So that concludes. Thank you for your attention. We're very happy to answer any questions we possibly can. I think you've seen we've gone far beyond a sketch plan, even though that's where we are. We're able to answer some further detailed questions. We would love to do that, Carla and I, and we look forward to that opportunity.
Thank you, colleagues. Before we go to public comment, any questions at this moment?
No.
He answered my first one.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to hold mine as well. Please stay here we're going to have a number of questions for you. We'll go to public comment. The public helps inform our questions, to say the least. We're very grateful for everybody taking the time here. And I think because we have public comment in the room, can we get the podium out?
Sure.
And you all are welcome to find a seat.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
That was almost bad.
Okay. So, for public comment, we are going to start in the room. We're going to go in the order of people that signed up on this sheet. I suspect that some of these signups did not intend to sign up for public comment, but I could be wrong. So I'm just going to go through the whole list.
And how much time do they have?
Yep, I'm going to all of that stuff. So a couple of things about public comment. You will have 3 minutes to make your comments. You will need to start with your name and roughly where you live. I do want to encourage, because we have kind of a lot of public comment here, and I presume online as well.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to mention that. We're going to do in person first, and then we'll get to Zoom. We'll take Zoom just in order of hands raised. I want to encourage folks, to the extent possible, you can always refer to other comments made. Don't necessarily repeat points that have already been made. Our commitment to you as a board, a unique assertion is made, we're going to write it down and we're going to chase it down. That's our commitment to you. Anything else in terms of public comment, colleagues, before we begin?
Just one thing, Mr. Chair. Just to note that if somebody has submitted a written comment, they don't need to speak today. The board has taken into consideration, and it's included in the packet of any written comments already submitted.
Yes, the written comments are already submitted. I can speak for myself, and I presume my colleagues as well, that we've already gone through and made notes about the stuff that we want to ask questions about based on those comments. So that's all that said. Let's get started. I see here, and apologies in advance, Zari Gibbons. Lori? Sorry.
First, for my wife. I'm number
Okay,
two on the list.
so if you could please state your name, roughly where you live, and
Brian Gibbons,
3
my
minutes.
wife and I, Lori, live at 382 Bellevue Mountain Drive. And the proposed Bellevue Mountain Drive that goes from Virginia Canyon to the top of the mountain for the resort goes about 425 feet through our property, splits the property right in the middle. And so as of right now, the road is only 16 feet wide with an inch ditch on both sides. And in some places on Bellevue Mountain Drive, it's only probably 12 feet at some of the curves. So I just wanted to let you know that. One of the main reasons that we're here is there was 2 exceptions to the planning reviews or planning commission. And one was for the widening, discuss the widening of the road, Bellevue Mountain Drive. And the other one was for who was going to pay for the maintenance of Virginia Canyon. And the developers thinking that this county would be responsible for it. And they came up with a price of $175,000 a year, from what I believe, that it would cost the county to maintain that road. So just going back to the house, our property, we bought it 7 years ago. We bought it for the peace and quietness to get away from the city. It is our retirement home. Our grandkids love coming up here. We use the road for recreational purposes. The grandkids love sledding and snowshoeing up the road. My wife and I snowshoe up to the top of the mountain using the road. We just don't want Bellevue Mountain Drive to be used as a primary road from Virginia Canyon up to the resort, to the top of the mountain. That's the whole idea of us being here. So it's going to take away everything that we love in the place, and it looks like it will go away. The wildlife we view almost every day will probably be gone because of the traffic. Traffic will be horrific for Bellevue Mountain Drive. It'll take so much out of it. One of the other things that we were concerned about was fire. People coming down all hours of the night, all hours of the day, going into Central City, coming back out when the casinos close, 2 o'clock. Somebody been drinking, somebody been smoking, they can throw a lighted cigarette out, and there you go. We're gonna lose half the mountain, especially our property. And we have a neighbor here that's gonna talk here in a second and with his property. But as far as the easements would go, we would never agree to any easement. Most of the road on our property is only 16 feet wide. We never agree to an easement. And if you look on page 4 of the applicant's plan development submittal, you see where he's got an old mining road that comes down off Two Brothers Road that's going up for the dispersed housing. And we would believe it would take nothing for him to widen that road and to finishing it up to the top of the mountain and leave Bellevue Mountain Drive alone. So that's probably my 3 minutes were about up. So that's what I wanted to let everybody know. So
your timing is impeccable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lori Gibbons. And I'm just gonna give you a wave when you have 30 seconds left, so.
Okay, I'm Lori Gibbons and my husband and I, again, we invested in this property for our grandkids. Unfortunately, we have 5 grandkids who do not have fathers anymore. One died of cancer and one died of an aneurysm. So this is our safe place. This is where we've come to deal with what we're dealing with. Our kids play out there. We have dogs. It's where we go. It's where our happy place is. We don't want cars coming through there and going through there at all hours of the day. The lights would shine in our bedroom. It just totally, we moved up there for peace and serenity. That would be taken for us and it would be given to this developer so he can give people peace and serenity. Come up to my place, peace and quiet, enjoy it. Well, we wouldn't have that anymore. Our peace and quiet would be robbed. So if he can find a different way, again, he's got other ways to make it work for him and leave us alone. We're okay with that. The only other problem we have is the noise. Is that going to be a noise factor? What about the lighting? So that's going to be the other thing. And if they, because it is a public road, is there going to be like a time? Can we have a time where you can only come through this road at this time and this time? So it does not impact our children or the way that we live. We want to be able to sleep. We moved to the mountains to get away from the city. And he's bringing a lot of traffic up that road. You've got a lot of land. You've invested in a lot of acreage. Find a different way. And we'll be good neighbors. That's all we ask. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Steve Levaniak. Levaniak, okay.
Make this short and sweet, if I can make it through it. I'm Steve Levaniak, moved up here of 2014, 11 years, off of Bellevue Mountain, with the first house you guys see with the 2 snow owls on my entrance. The impact of the traffic with 180 cars coming up, weddings 3-4 times a week, would impact how I get in and out of my property. I do have some medical issues, stress. I drive a lot of distance for work, 5 days a week. From here all the way to Aurora, Airport Boulevard, 110 miles round trip. I go to bed early. I got to get up early to go. Traffic, the noise. You've been up there, people's been up on the communication towers. It sounded like they're just right across my driveway. Voices carry at night, and that's a concern. Summertime, you want the fresh air. That's why we moved up to the mountains, to get away from everything like the Gibbons have said. This would greatly impact our community up there. The wildlife. This year I had 25 bears roam through my property, elk, mountain lions, bobcats. They'll all go away. We move up to the mountains for our peaceness, to see the nature, the relaxation, not traffic coming up and down. Might as well just put us on a busy road, on a main street. Everyone up here would be fighting for the same thing that we're fighting for. Great establishment, I agree. Different road access, we would appreciate that in consideration. Our road, we'd like to keep it to a community, a few more houses if they do get built up there, at least emergency access for fire department to get up there in case there is a fire, someone can't breathe because of the high altitude they weren't expecting. I'd love to have that access for the cell towers and emergency response team to help out up there. Not regarding the fire restrictions that we're always on every summer. We're increasing the possibility of a fire up there and the timeline for them to try to get up from Idaho Springs down the narrow path on the asphalt right when you come off of Colorado Boulevard in between the 2 houses. And if you come up Virginia Canyon Dirt Road, it's barely 1 car wide. How would someone back up? How would you back up a fire truck? I'm looking after the people, the safety. You're bringing city people up to the mountains, don't know how to drive on dirt roads. We all had to learn how to drive on dirt roads and slow down. I almost got ran off the road the other day getting a load of water from Idaho Springs to the dump truck. Real fast. Kind of scary. And I'm looking at people's safety coming up here for that, knowing there's no guardrails, no lights. You're partying up there, having a great time, having a few drinks and trying to get off the mountain. Or even if it's during winter time, you go down Two Brothers Road. It's slippery. It's not maintained during winter time. I had to rescue 6 people a couple years ago because when the highway was shut down because of Glenwood, GPS took them down that road. They slid down in the ditches. I took my ATV and brought people out of their cars up to the top as my girlfriend took them to places where they needed to be so they can get a tow truck.
Wrap up.
Yep. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you for understanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the list, I have Chris Gould.
No comments.
Comment. Jess Jones. Not here. Dylan Woods.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dylan Woods. I personally live in Morrison. I'm here on behalf of Richard Lewis, who owns a piece of property. His property is bisected by Bellevue Mountain Drive immediately as it juts off of Virginia Canyon Road. And I expect that he's online as well and may speak during the public comment on his own behalf. But for my part, just a bit of detail. His parcel number is 1835-22-4-00710. And this parcel was the subject of a resolution in 2007, was finally adopted in 2000. That's resolution 0721. And the effect of that resolution was subject to conditions, the vacation of Bellevue Mountain Drive as it crosses the Lewis parcel. Those conditions are not complete, but that resolution has never been rescinded, and it is recorded at reception number 249065. And we obtained a copy of that through a core request to the county. So I appreciate the assistance of county staff with that research. Among those conditions was providing for an alternative access before final vacation of Bellevue Mountain Drive as it crosses the Lewis parcel, and completion of quieting title in Mr. Lewis's name. That quiet title case was resolved in 2008. The decree granting title in Mr. Lewis's name issued July 15th, 2008. So while a long process, the conditions of that resolution are ongoing. Mr. Lewis's request here, like the Gibbons and Mr. Levaniak, is that alternative access to the development be obtained by the developer as a condition of approval by the county for this project. Alternatively, not accessing via the Lewis parcel. In particular, because it is the parcel from which Bellevue Mountain Drive leaves Virginia Canyon, Mr. Lewis's property is going to be the point at which the public really enters the development, even though this is not a piece of property owned by the developer. There have been discussions about widening the road and obtaining private easements to do so. Mr. Lewis is not amenable at this time to granting such an easement. In large part why I'm here today asking that you consider the alternative access request here. Mr. Lewis is not objecting to the development generally, only to that point of access into the development via Bellevue Mountain Drive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Maslanik.
My name is John Maslanik. During our ownership, there's been illegal drug production in the mine. There's been dog breeding, trash dumping and burning, hunting and picnicking and unauthorized metal detecting on the property, and off-road vehicle use. All of these kind of ancillary uses of the land has cost TBM about over $20,000 in out-of-pocket expenses just this last year. The benefits of,
You've hit time if you could wrap up.
yes, I will. The benefits have been, I think, outlined by the development team, formalizing the future use of the property and actually providing proximity benefits to some of the existing landowners, similar to the way a golf course provides proximity benefits to homes around the golf course. As an aside, I was the one who named Bellevue Mountain Drive, and it's not Bellevue Mountain Road. So I was the one who did that.
Thank you for your comment.
So, any further questions? I'm available.
Next we have, is that Barb Mertz?
She was the ST.
Yep. Angie Guignon? That one right? Angela? Nope. Ed, your last name starts with a G. Okay. Carla Cole, I don't think are you here for public comment as well?
I think I am going to, Susan.
Okay.
Since my name's on the list. And again, I am the planner. I'm working through the entitlements for these guys. I'm the consultant that they hired. And I think it's important to remember.
I know we know you, but if you could start with
Oh, I'm sorry, Carla.
where you live.
I live at 2857 Chicago Creek Road, Highway 103. Short walk from another wedding venue that was put in years ago. I just want to remind you guys that what we're talking about here is an ultra low density project that's focused on recreation and environment. It does bring economic diversity to our region, which we all know is important. The truth is that this project is possible because there is public access to it. The Bellevue Mountain Drive is a public road. It does allow access to it. The financial modeling that the team has done and that's been discussed, and we can answer more questions on that, would be, and staff has reviewed that full report as well, that is going to allow for some balancing of what may be necessary for the public roads leading to Bellevue Mountain Drive. Bellevue Mountain Drive is separate. Leading to Bellevue Mountain Drive, there may need to be some increased snow removal, some increased road signs, there's a lot that needs to be discussed here, that makes those roads safe to the property. But the financial modeling does allow for some balance in that discussion. It also allows for those roads, Virginia Canyon, and Lower Two Brothers, to be safer for other people traveling, people that are coming through our county and going to Gilpin using those roads. That's important as well. And this is a great project. It provides significant benefits to all of Clear Creek. There's economic development here that's important. And I don't discount that there are neighbors. There are 3 neighbors. One's a part-time resident. One's actually a Gilpin County resident, and the other one, I don't believe, has a house there. There are neighbors, and I get that. But this is a public road leading there. And this has been an immense amount of work for their team. Chad is an expert on those mining claims on that land. He's got drone footage. I wish we could have shown that drone footage because number one, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's just beautiful land up there. And there's been an immense amount of work here. And so I welcome, we want you to ask the questions and want you to raise your concerns and and provide us, be a partnership in this and ask us, questions, but also, if you see opportunities that maybe we haven't seen yet, like, let's talk about it and let's get through the sketch plan phase so we can keep moving and have the discussions necessary for the next piece. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank you.
So the next three, I presume, given that we'll be asking you questions afterwards, we've got Marv, Boyd, any public comment? Or Val?
Three of us had signed up thinking it was a sign-up sheet.
So that's a no
Unless you want
for,
me to speak on our own behalf.
I think you've had ample time and will continue to. So Marv,
Is it too late to sign up for public comment?
we're gonna get, if you're here and you want to make a couple public comment, we're gonna get to you for sure.
Okay.
So Marv Boyd, Val Rodriguez, and Chad Holmes, not registered for public comment. Mayor Chuck Harmon.
Hi, I'm Chuck Harmon, a Clerk Creek County enthusiast and a resident of Idaho Springs at 2108 Virginia Street. I want you to know, I do not almost ever come before county commissioners. I'm notoriously difficult to make a recommendation. I've only done it twice in 20 years. This applicant did not ask me to speak on their behalf. I just really felt compelled to step forward based on the strength of this application, which I am very, very familiar with. And I will say that your staff crushed it with their recommendation of approval. It's going to seriously limit my comment today because I think they really covered all of the reasons why it should be approved. And I don't want to rehash what's in their report, but I would like to say that this is so inspiring. I'm not being melodramatic when I say that if approved, this is going to be something that's going to be studied with people from all over the state. I think this is a new gold standard. And when I look at a potential replacement environment, economic environment for when the mine closes, this is really just a gold standard that I think we can all be really proud of. And while I am very sympathetic, I'll be a little surprised with a few neighbors that have spoke about the road today. I will say, I think for the overall good of the county, I really am proud of this development. And I felt very compelled to come and speak with you today and urge a very strong approval for this. And I think these people do mean well. And I think that this is going to be an important legacy for the community. And I want to thank you very much for considering this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Kay Axtell.
Hi, I'm Kay Axtell, 37 Pat Creek Road, Evergreen, Colorado, Clear Creek County. Yay. So I have been around for a very long time and would appreciate the opportunity that my voice has always been heard in this county for many, many years. I'm also a member of SOL, Save Open Lands, Vistas, and the Environment. And some of my comments, hopefully, Jim White, who is our chairman, I believe is online and will have comments. So I'll try to refrain from the things he would talk about. However, I guess the biggest thing, well, first of all, I have a million questions. Prior to that, I don't believe Saul had the opportunity to send a referral letter. And in the past, we have always been consulted. For that reason, we are pretty much ill-prepared and have, a lot of questions to ask. I would like to, commissioners, if it's a skill of practice, if we were so considered a voice when it comes up to these kinds of proposals. So for myself personally, the main thing I thought about, with all due respect to the developers, I realize I'm not familiar with your what you have planned. How?
Please address the board.
What?
Please address the board.
Oh, okay. I've been, I just, all right. For years and years and years and years, I have been hearing similar proposals about how incredible development was going to be for the county. And there were three specific times that I know I stood up, I think with Saul, against some of these proposals. One of them was Saddleback Mountain, where we had geologists from School of Mines stating that the rock was bad, it was not a good place to build. I believe Saddleback went bankrupt. I think it's, operating now. I think people are living there. However, there's a big impact in road maintenance, I believe, there. So while that was supposed to be such a great thing, I don't know if it's been such a great thing for the county. The next one was the wastewater treatment plant, which developers had suggested that they would pay part of, allowing the school district, saving them a lot of money. And then what happened was the development did not happen. And I think we're all stuck with that. I didn't really oppose that because I'm a school teacher. However, it turned out, I think, where it was supposed to be such a good thing for everybody and so beneficial, it was not.
You have hit your 3 minutes if you could.
I'm sorry?
If you've reached your 3 minutes, if you could kind of wrap up.
Okay.
Not a hard
All right,
stop.
One more thing, two things, and I'll be quick. The RV park, I'm not sure what happened, but I know that proposal was approved and I think it's creating problems for the county. But the big thing that I keep hearing is how wonderful this is going to be. I understand it's open to the public trails. I also belong to the Open Space Commission. And our biggest challenge right now is that all of our wonderful open spaces, which we've acquired and love, the management plan is going to be a major problem. How do we deal with all these people coming in? They're leaving trash, they're leaving refuge. It's a much bigger problem, I think, than we thought we'd have. And I see that as a problem for this proposal. So I'll turn it over to hopefully somebody online.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian M.
I was just signing in.
Okay, Brian Norsera, okay. Okay, if you're in the room and you want to make a public comment and I didn't call your name, will you raise your hand? Please, Lindsay Valdez.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm Lindsay Valdez. I am a Georgetown resident, 1036 Rose Street. And I'm also a business owner in Idaho Springs and also the executive director of the Clear Creek Economic Development Corporation. And we've been working with this group for, I guess, the past 6 months, I believe, and actually had the pleasure of going up and seeing the site, and it's phenomenal. I'm here today speaking in support of the project. As you know, our organization has been involved with some regional resilience work, and we have a team that we've gotten together and have identified some key priorities for both Clear Creek and Gilpin counties, but specifically to Clear Creek, a lack of hotel rooms and also the need for additional opportunities for economic development. We feel like this is a low impact, environmentally low impact project that could really bring in some great benefits to the county, both financially and also just that multiplier effect of shopping in town and spending money in town. We see a lot of retail leakage, which we're trying to address with some of our efforts. And this is something that really gets people into town, staying in town. And so my board did write a letter of support in support of this project. Of course, we don't have all of the details, the ins and outs of some of the challenges, and we do understand with the road and things. So we're not commenting specifically on those challenges, but just in general, we are supportive of the project as we believe it can positively impact our communities and our economy. So just wanted to share that with you all today. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleagues, I do think it's appropriate just to mention, I do serve, as you know, as a representative to the CCEDC board. I did recuse myself from their conversation about this project. Anybody else in the room that wants to make public comment? Let's go to Zoom. If you are on Zoom and your hand is already not raised, you can find your raise hand button. We'll take you one at a time. Megan, we'll transfer you over. We'll make sure you have a good connection, and then I'll ask you to proceed.
All right, Jim White is first. He is rejoining as a panelist. Hello, Jim. If you can just say your address and your name or roughly where you live and unmute yourself and you can do your public comment.
Let me go in. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Jim, please proceed.
I am Jim White. I live at 322 Highview Drive up on Floyd Hill. And I'm chairman of the county volunteer organization Solve that Kay Axtell mentioned. And as she said, we didn't get the referral letter back in October, so we're not as well prepared for input as we generally are. However, after even an initial look at the project and hear what was proposed, a really different kind of question pops out. It's not clear whether the county can afford this project. We haven't got enough of the numbers yet, but it looks like a significant project, and there's a large potential for the costs to provide services for it to exceed any new revenues generated. Not all the economic impact is necessarily county revenue, and there are far more costs involved than just the road maintenance. We don't have any neutral third-party fiscal agreement or assessment to go on, but we can look at the county's fiscal experience with these types of land uses. Not fancy mathematical projections, but just boring accounting data. The experience with commercial land uses in general is that the cost to provide services eats up somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of all new revenues generated. And the two commercial uses in this project, tourism and outdoor recreation, have been the types of commercial activities where the county has had the most problems generating any money. So it seemed that the county would be lucky to do a whole lot better than break even revenue versus county revenue versus county expenses with the commercial part of the development. Then there's the multifamily residential, mostly for employee housing in this plan. The county's experience with such residential uses is that for every dollar of revenue, and that includes property taxes, sales taxes, intergovernmental transfers, fees, licenses, all that stuff, for every dollar of that, the county spends almost $2.50 on providing services. So the county stands to take a large loss on the residential uses. All in all, based solely on the county experiences, there seems to be a potential for this project to add a significant deficit to the county budget. However, this is a fascinating and unusual project. And there may be some specifics that make the outlook look different from usual. It could be better, maybe not as good. The county might be well served by postponing the decision and have the county staff getting neutral third-party fiscal assessment for the specifics of this particular proposal and use that as additional input before you make your decision. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. White.
Next, we have Jamie Boyle.
Okay. Not yet.
Oh, how about now?
Yes, you'll have 3 minutes. Please proceed.
Thank you. My name is Jamie Boyle. I live in Westminster, Colorado, and I speak here in my capacity as the Director of Community Development for Gilpin County. First, I just want to say good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration today. We appreciate the referral agency notice that we received from your planning office, and also the opportunity to provide written comments. I know you've already received those. I want to be brief. I would just like to emphasize one of the core issues of importance to Gilpin County, just that this project intentionally directs roughly 75% of its traffic through Gilpin County onto the Central City Parkway and then also onto our portion of Virginia Canyon Road. Updated materials in this packet from Civ Trans Engineering estimate up to 280 additional vehicle trips per day during peak event times, which could be as much as 4 to 5 times the typical traffic volume on Gilpin County segment of Virginia Canyon Road. Those figures also don't include any future expansion, which we know is part of the overall proposal. Neither do they consider short-term construction traffic or heavy trucks for ongoing cistern water hauling. And both of those could have significant impacts on the road. This is not a case of incidental spillover. The routing through Gilpin County is deliberate and mentioned in the application materials. And while Clear Creek County will receive all of the tax revenues, an estimated, I think, $5.7 million over 10 years, according to the projections in the packet materials, Gilpin County will receive none of those revenues, but will bear much of the cost of road maintenance, as well as public safety and emergency response costs along those roadways. And we've had no seat at the table and no part of the conversation so far. Gilpin County really values its strong working relationship that we have with Clear Creek County. We are not opposed to development. We do not want to get in the way of our neighbors' development. We are asking to be meaningfully involved when our infrastructure is being relied upon by design. Ideally, we ask that this item maybe be continued to allow staff level coordination between our counties. But we understand that if the board would like to make a decision today, we do respectfully request that you consider the conditions of approval that we've described in our letter. We would hope to have interagency engagement for mitigation for traffic, road impacts, and emergency response considered. Good neighbors plan together. We would like to do that work with you. And we just ask for the opportunity to do so. So thank you again for your consideration and for the care that you put into reviewing this application.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have.
No one else with their hand raised. We do have a lot of people online though. So maybe if you are online and you would like to provide a public comment, please raise your hand.
We're just I've been there when you're trying to find the raise hand button on your Zoom. So people in the room, bear with us.
It is on the bottom, right next to participants.
Hold that open for a minute.
Oh, we have one more. This is Craig.
Okay, and this, before we get to Craig, this is your final call to find your raise hand button on Zoom.
All right, Craig is there.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Yeah, my name's Craig McPhee. I'm with Civ Trans Engineering. I performed a traffic study on this project, so I'm not sure if this is like quite the right moment for me to interject for public comment, but just wanted to point out that we